Are you ready to flash? Welcome
Yes.
to Flash. Aha! With me, as always, is Richard Holliday.
Hello, I'm here. It's nice to be
And-
with you all again. Oh, God, I'm shut up.
Richard is a man in his 30s who has still never released his post-apocalyptic thriller. Why is that? Is it coming soon?
Because it's not ready yet. Stop pressuring me. It's horrible. Leave me alone.
We also have Barrett Laurie, the author tuber who knows what to do with a colour palette.
Hi, friends. Oh, was this my
And-
opening? Sorry. Okay. I was like, oh, sorry. I was just waving. Okay.
Should I go back to Martin?
And we have Adam, a writer and blogger in Glasgow. So subtitles are available.
Hello, everyone.
It's very awkward, isn't it?
I am big and I am clever.
Are the subtitles working?
Also, Hannah Palmer, a writer in the south of England.
Hello. You don't probably need subtitles for me, but I can translate for Adam.
Here is what's going to happen. We're going to talk for a bit. We're going to write for a bit. We're going to talk for a bit about what we wrote, write a bit more, and reread the things we wrote. Also, drinking. Is
What?
anyone drinking?
Yes,
I've forgotten.
a little bit.
Nice.
Whiskey!
Nice choice.
Drink. I forgot. Adam's probably got like an IV of like iron brew attached to his, like, you know. Camera.
No, they changed the taste. They changed the taste. It was a dark day in Scotland.
How would you describe Iron Brew to someone who's never had it or seen it before?
Like me.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I honestly could. I couldn't without. I don't know if this. There's no way to describe it. It's just literally an explosion of sugar and caffeine in your mouth, and it just tastes so good. And it does. It's a cure-all ale. You know, you're hungover, Iron Brew sorts you out. You're afraid, Iron Brew sorts you out. Your legs hanging off, Iron Brew sorts you out.
It's like nuclear orange.
It's the greatest thing. I miss it so much.
It's literally bright orange. Like,
It does. It was bright orange, yeah. You can Google it, man. You can Google it, but you'll never get. They'll probably maybe sell it somewhere near you, but it won't be Iron Brew. It'll be more like a passion fruit sort of drink.
Okay. Like a Hawaiian punch, maybe. Oh, then
Probably.
And I'm pretty sure it glows in the dark, doesn't it, Adam?
No, it did grow in the dark in the 70s, or for what I've been told by my father, who has 3 arms and 2 heads, but it doesn't anymore.
bless them.
So orange.
I met him at a party once. He was going by Phil.
Yeah, his real name's Alan with 2 L's to go with the 2 heads. You know,
Alan with 2 L's.
it makes a L of a difference. That was his pickup line to my mother.
Well, it worked.
Well, clearly it worked. Because she became your mother.
It did. Exhibit A. It worked. Yeah.
Barrett, how were you conceived?
I was just thinking, like, how do I follow that? You know, we're still not sure. I like to tell people it was immaculate. And the rest is history. And I'm a cesarean section, so nothing even interesting about how I entered the world. So it's pretty basic and boring compared to that. All I have is water and tea.
So basically, you were like the alien out of Alien. You burst from your mother's chest.
Yes, I wasn't ready to leave. So Mama's boy to this day, she called me while I was logging on with Richard. So that umbilical cord is still tightly tethered. But yeah, no, I wasn't ready. And here I am to this day on AuthorTube seeking validation from other people. So, you know.
Come to the wrong place of validation, Barrett.
Full circle. Well, this is like my self-masochism, I think. It was like, you know what, let's go and beat myself up a little bit.
Some nice comments from the chat.
Oh, good.
That's nice. So, Martin, what are we going to do now?
I believe you're going to force genres on us all.
Oof.
Should we get that pain out of the way now or in a minute?
Let's go
No,
back
let's
to conception.
Well, if you get romance, Barrett, you're going to have to write a story about conception.
Oh.
No, that's a different genre, Richard. We've gone over this before.
In America, we call that cruel and unusual.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right, then, if we're going to get that out the way, as Adam might say.
He's not from Yorkshire.
Yeah, that was a Yorkshire accent.
Oh, it's the same thing. It's all north, isn't it?
I'm
By
offended
which he
for you,
means
Adam.
of Watford.
This is very true.
I'm here for the passive aggression.
Mhm.
And I'm here for the wryness.
Well,
It's a really hard word to pronounce, wryness. Right, so as Martin may or may not have explained, there are 5 genres for our 5 lovely writers, or 4 including me.
If you go on Amazon, they do actually have some other genres, but we've just got these ones.
Well, the thing is, there's only 5 of us, and I have to do this very much at the last minute. And so we are going to pick who wants to go first. I think we should let the lovely Hannah as the lady go first.
agreed.
Okay.
I
There's
agree.
one of those I'm happy writing, so okay.
You've got a 20% chance of getting it.
Wicked.
So I'm just putting you on my little piece of paper. And you are going to be getting sci-fi.
Okay.
Ooh.
Was that what
Okay.
you wanted?
Is that what
That's
you want?
oh, okay. Well,
No, I have dabbled in sci-fi, so that's
Okay.
okay.
Okay, who would like to go next?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Me.
Yeah.
Who's me?
Adam.
I'll let Adam go next. Adam,
Like
you're
it-
going to be writing thriller.
Okay.
Okay. Next, should we get the lovely Barrett still?
Yeah, let me get out of here. Get let's see, get that band-aid
No
right off.
escape just yet. No escape.
I see comedy last night. Getting sweaty.
Yeah.
Richard, if you get thriller again, this is you can't. That's
No.
absolutely fine.
Because they get deleted once they get,
Good.
ruled.
Correct.
So I think we should let me go next, because why not? I am getting sci-fi again. I'm getting historical.
Oh,
Which means Martin has to tackle comedy, which actually,
Suits him.
out of all of us,
seems like a perfect.
probably the best chance.
Why is sci-fi again? Well, we all know Martin's getting comedy, so we can just get rid of that now. There we are. So, should we talk about prompts and ideas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I had an idea for a prompt earlier, and the prompt is: what is old is new again. I will settle for those impressed noises.
Don't know what to make of that. Don't know what to make of that.
I don't know how to write comedy. I know how to write not comedy be funny, but I don't know how to just write a comedy.
Just write how you normally do. It's normally quite funny.
Yeah.
I'll just aim to hit the ground and miss.
Right, historical. So I've got to pick a historical period, I suppose.
Hmm.
Last week.
Last week. I think that doesn't really count as history, does it? Well, last week does feel like it was like 1,000 years ago, going like this silly pandemic, doesn't it? So, any more thoughts on prompts? Let's see what the chat has to say. Beck says, "Great line, Hannah." I've forgotten what line she was talking about. Though.
I was actually trying to be nice when I said just write how you normally do, Martin, because I do genuinely find what you write quite funny. I didn't mean like just attempt at writing and it'll be hilarious.
I like praise.
How it came across.
So it could have been misconstrued, but it.
Oops.
Like I brought prompts, but they're like about dying.
Okay.
Mm.
I can make that work.
Do you want one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either
Mhm.
what is the biggest lesson that death has taught you, or what was the last thing you heard or saw before you died?
I like the second one.
I like both of those.
I like the second one. I like both, but if I'm drawn more to the second one.
Each their own.
But no, they're both really good. Both really good prompts.
What I
Yeah,
got?
they can both be quite profound.
I just brought death.
It's got death to
Got
the
death to
street,
the
Barrett.
So I bought-
But,
Mhm.
Which is sort of what we're exporting
Death.
from America these days. So.
oh,
Oof, no.
no.
There are things I could say to that I won't. Bless you.
What about if you turned out like one of your childhood heroes and you don't like it?
Ooh.
That's
I
kind of
think
cool.
we've done a similar ones. What if you meet your childhood hero and they don't like you?
I did say that once.
That's way worse if they don't like you.
I know, right? Because you still like them. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like you're just totally.
You just like me.
It's like
What if
crushing
you
your
meet your childhood
dreams.
hero and you don't like them? Don't like you.
No, Neil. I just want you to like me.
Now, who's Neil? That's the question.
Who's
That's
Neil?
the question.
Mhm.
Gaiman, obviously.
Gaiman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gaiman. Yeah. I think that's hilarious.
Well,
He's thinking Neil
he's
Gaiman.
too.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Neil Morrissey, the actor, for some reason.
Or Neil Buchanan.
He's Banksy.
Not,
The guy from
not seen him
Arthur.
in anything.
Buchanan.
Yeah.
That's quite an English thing to say.
Neil
Sorry.
Buchanan.
I'm gonna have to Google that one.
Yeah.
It's like a kid's
And here
art
I
show.
am.
Host of Art Attack, which was
Mhm.
legendary back in the day.
I hope he lives to a ripe old age, but when his time must come, it would be somewhat fitting if it was a heart attack.
Neil Buchanan's hairstyles throughout the years are a mood.
Does he not front like a metal band now or something?
Isn't
I'm
that,
sure he's a singer now.
isn't that Christopher Lee?
No, Christopher Lee did a couple of metal albums, but no, I'm sure that one of my friends went to see Neil Buchanan, and it was like a heavy
Love
metal
that.
band or something he was in.
That's amazing. I know Stephen King is in a band.
Is he really?
Just to totally geek out, meeting your childhood heroes. I'm like that. No, Optimus Prime, please give me a lift. Yours are all real people. I'm like, Optimus Prime, 35, and still he's, one of my top 5 heroes, childhood or not. Like Optimus Prime, yeah. He's like John Wayne, but better,
He is in a heavy metal band. That's so cool.
Neil Buchanan.
Holliday. Yeah.
What is going on? I'm going to put the thumbnail.
No, it's your show. You can't be Googling.
Okay. I break all the rules.
Okay, other prompts. Happy
This humongous sort of
No,
mullet.
it's our prompt from the other side of death.
Life.
Resurrection.
What?
I only caught the end of that word. What did you just say?
That's on you, young lady.
Oh,
Resurrection.
I missed the res. But I heard the second half, and I thought, well, that's fun. I'll take that one.
What did you say? I took that erection. I mean, that might make it into Barrett's piece. Who knows? He's
I was gonna say it's romance, guys.
Could do.
I've got 1,000 words, so
Mhm.
What can happen in 1,000 words?
yeah, well.
I'm streaming with children.
Resurrection.
Okay, happier prompts. Happier prompts.
Happier prompts.
Kitten Mafia.
Yes.
I like this talk.
I don't generally write happy things.
Sunny Croydon.
Okay. We're
Oxymoron.
not doing fantasy, Martin, so we can't do Sun Croydon.
Oh yeah, we're missing fantasy from the genres.
But just a really good day.
Well, when I did some creative writing at university, they basically said fantasy is basically the same as science fiction, so we don't need to worry about that. And that offended quite a lot of people.
I mean, it's the same in the way, but it's the exact opposite.
different expectations, right? Different payoffs. Like
Mm.
like I expect a little different kind of payoff in the
Yeah.
beat a little bit, but other than that, I don't know. That's one of those unpopular opinions I'm not sure I want to touch.
I, for a long time,
I mean,
steered away from fantasy because I've tried to read Lord of the Rings about 4 times, and each time I've ended up just falling asleep because it takes about 50 pages to describe a leaf on a tree. I'm like, I don't care, just get on with it.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
the
but you
Hobbit.
knew what that Leafs family was doing 12 generations back.
It was interesting. But yeah, I actually think the films were worse than the book because those films were both about 4.5 hours long. I remember as an 11-year-old, I watched the first one. I literally just fell asleep near the end.
I may have to leave.
Yeah, I'm feeling quite triggered, which is not a word that I use often. I'm feeling pretty triggered over here. Yeah.
I was on a Reddit thread of unpopular writing opinions or reading a book opinions, and I put that down. I got quite an interesting reaction to that. I've actually forgotten my Reddit password, so I can't find the post, which may or may not be a good thing.
No.
How about Doll's House?
Oh, that could go very many ways.
As in a doll's
I went
house.
neutral.
Was it dog or doll?
Doll.
Doll
Doll house.
Like American doll.
Yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to refer to people as doll anymore.
Doll.
All right,
Yeah.
doll.
It's a really strange word. You say it a lot.
Give me another drink, doll.
It's one of those words that loses more meaning the more you say it. You just think this doesn't make any sense. Doll. Doll.
Doll. Yeah.
And that
If
could
there's
be
one
quite
thing this stream isn't, it's dull.
Doll.
Oh dear. I'm glad you've figured that out. No,
That was tenuous.
that's a good word. That's got to go on the list. For those unaware, I have a list of good words. So
If
I
you'd like
see
to
a good
receive it,
word-
sign up to his newsletter.
Hold up there it is.
I've really done it
Hey.
because I got drink on it, so I had to pick a new font. So I thought, what is the most cursed, heinous font I could type this in? And I went for Comic Sans.
I think you should have gone for Papyrus.
No,
Oh.
Are we now just talking about fonts, by the way? Because I'm totally up for that. I think you'll find I am the font of all knowledge.
Oh, that was bad, bro. That was bad. Even
Yeah.
for you, Richard, that one was pretty bad. You know. I mean, we love you, but not that much. Not that much.
Richard doesn't have the best social skills. He can't always carry a conversation.
Oh no! Make it stop! Make it stop!
I'm so glad that I don't have to tune into sort of terrestrial TV because I wouldn't have to adjust my aerial.
No, goodness.
No.
Does anyone still have an aerial?
Yes.
You still need those things.
I don't think you still need them, but people still have them.
By then,
I mean, that's where the TV comes from.
I don't
Barrett,
actually
you are
watch
very
TV.
funny.
You don't want to be punny.
Mission accomplished. Now I've achieved something tonight already.
Nice.
Martin, how could you possibly say this? Unsubscribe to my newsletter.
Hit that
I
unsubscribe.
can only apologise. I've typoed.
They're saying that I did get people unsubscribe to my newsletter based on an advert because they said they didn't sign up to my newsletter. They just wanted the freebie. So you did sign up to it, love. So you know,
We'll figure
Open.
wagging finger of disapproval.
So
That is the risk of
what's,
running nuts.
what's our prompt then?
I'm kind of feeling Doll's House. Do I want to make it creepy?
It doesn't have to be creepy.
I'm just thinking if Bethany was here, she'd make it creepy. So I'm doing
The grandmas and birds.
Punishment.
Okay, we've killed Barrett almost.
COVID.
I haven't got a swab long enough to,
Oh, come on. What a shame. It's not about the length of the swab. Okay. What was the
drop to that solution on that little strip. That always helps.
So did we go creepy on Dollhouse while I was croaking?
Well, you can go wherever you want, and probably will. Should we make the prompt Doll's House? What does the chat think? Do we like Doll's House?
Like a one-word prompt, or are we gonna make it like a?
Yeah, well, I build it out.
I like one of the ones about death.
I think it yeah, I'm just trying to think I could do. Ooh.
Being like, I just like a dollhouse. No.
Yeah, I'm trying to think Doll's House. I think you could go many places. It's saying that thinking of Doll's House, I just keep thinking of The Sims. It's like
Oh.
Yeah, I can see that.
Love Sims.
yeah.
Did Josh Whedon not have a TV show called Doll's House?
Oh, that was Dollhouse, singular.
Full House.
Dollhouse. I'm not even really allowed to say Josh Whedon anymore. Like,
He probably does have a show called that. I wouldn't really know. Shall we go for Doll's House then and get onto a Sprinty McSprintface? I can't believe they didn't name that ship's Boaty McBoatface. That was an outrage.
So long ago.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell my taste in memes is so dated. I just can't keep up. So,
You're about half a decade.
I still think Gangnam Style is current. It's 9 years old. So,
Ooh.
9 years old.
9 years old.
But you do have the dance down, so.
Did it
I
take
have
you?
ruined several weddings with that. I see it as my honour when I go to a wedding. It doesn't happen often, to be fair. Is to just dad dance the night away.
Yeah.
Please get on
Of
TikTok
course.
and please make that your first TikTok. Like, that's all I want.
What's TikTok? I don't understand TikTok.
Oh, goodness.
Oh.
Oh, bless
I
you.
have no idea what to write about a comedy about a dollhouse.
I don't know why you're having trouble with it. No, here, let's help, because I was kind of sitting there thinking,
I was starting to form a really good idea, and then you all said dollhouse. I'm like, oh.
Well, what were you hoping we were going to go for, Martin, in terms of the prompt?
The dying one.
I'm sorry. I would. Thank you. This is it. That's.
I will email you my PayPal. Ben, so you can,
Ben, let's pool some funds and make this worth his while.
Yeah.
Martin, you could direct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wait, weren't we actually supposed to be doing a film before all this one thing and another started?
I think it was on the cards, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I have written a couple of scripts, but I just don't enjoy scripts very much. Fun to just I just want to fill that page with text. Just fill it from left to right with text.
Slow snail. If Mark doesn't take that, I'm going to take that for romance, because I'm sitting here going, "What am I write for a romance?" So keep those ideas coming, please. Bring on another one for a romance.
I don't know what a Barbie's World is. I barely know what a fanfic is.
Wait,
That's a lie.
speaking of a doll, I mean,
You don't know what a fanfic is.
Oh,
There's no shame in a bit of fanfic. Yeah, we've all dabbled, haven't we, and indulged ourselves.
You have.
yes.
I kind of feel like writing a sequel to one of my stories is like writing fanfic for my own stuff.
It's not.
No.
But it kind of is. Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, kinda is. It's not, but it kinda is.
I mean, I do feel when I write a sequel to one of your books, it's kind of fanfic.
Oh, you goose, Martin, you goose. Shall we go for a sprint then?
Yeah.
If we must.
Yes.
We must, that's what we're here for. And just let the audience know if you're going to be writing along, you can also do that.
If you're writing along, post your font in the chat.
Yeah, please let us know what font you're writing in, and it will go to our panel of esteemed judges.
So you can all judge your font choice.
Yeah, boom. Oh, that's quite classy, to be honest, Garamond. I did my book in Minion for this one.
Minion. Oh.
Banana!
All the Facebook mums out there.
Oh,
I like Cadbury.
I like Calibri.
Big fan, yeah, big fan.
Inoffensive is. I'm just waiting for Ben to pipe up with his choice of font.
I reckon Ben writes some wingdings.
Comic Sans.
You know what? He hates it so much. He must write, and he must be kind of repressing that love he has for it.
Apparently, it's a good one to write in.
Actually, the origin story of Comic Sans is fascinating.
Yeah, isn't it about dyslexia?
Really? That's cool.
I think it is. I think it has
dyslexia.
People.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure I've watched a few YouTube videos about it, which go into fairly exhaustive detail.
Didn't know that. That's interesting.
Adam's going very classical, very, very stoic, very, stiff upper lip, and
Very
traditional.
traditional.
British, can't be at times New Roman.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
actually
It's a great
wrote a
compliment.
poem about fonts at university.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I
because
think you've told us
hated
this
writing
before.
poetry. I hated writing poetry, and I had nothing else to write about, so I wrote a artsy-fartsy poem about fonts. And they liked it. They didn't kind of get the idea.
Times New Roman. Leave it like.
Right into that.
Bauhaus.
I mean,
Wow, you must really hate yourself.
I don't know what's the one for.
I have to say, I'm surprised you're not writing in Johnson, Richard. Bit of London pride.
That Forte font is horrible.
That is just like so. Oh, it's yikes. It's like a sort of pretend marker font, like no, not a fan. Right.
It's possible jokes about the font of a London Underground are perhaps too niche.
I mean, I didn't know what you're getting at. I thought you were talking about Boris Johnson for a minute.
big Bojo. We love him. We love him.
We don't need
What a
to
haircut. Okay.
Iconic haircut.
It's iconic haircut.
Hang on,
And,
what
and,
hair?
you know,
He doesn't cut his hair.
exactly.
He breaks all the rules.
That's it.
Dear me. Right. Doll's House. I think I've got an idea for this.
Feel sorry for me. I've got Jimmy Cranky.
Shall we go for a sprint?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What? Let's look at something. Old English text. Oh my word, Jesus. That's like the sort of pirate font, isn't it?
Yeah.
Old English, I think so, yeah.
I don't think pirates were particularly active in the printing press.
French script.
No sure.
Although saying that, if you look into the history of literacy piracy, that's a whole other fascinating topic of conversation.
I'm sure you've got a sort of torrent of information about that.
Piracy is fascinating.
Dickens had a whole issue of that. Wasn't that how Christmas Carol came about? Because, or was it Christmas Carol that got torrented?
And Christmas Carol, that was Was it?
That was
Dickens,
Dickens.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, there's something to do with that in the printing press and things. I looked into it a couple of years ago. I've forgotten it all now, but there is a movie on Netflix, I think, that covers it, starring Dan Stevens.
What was the
MD's got
Christmas
about
film we were
90 minutes
talking about
to
earlier,
spare.
Martin, the really bad one? Loving Christmas? Leaving Christmas?
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas, that's the one. I don't know why we're talking about that in August. It was apparently terrible.
I like Wham.
I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the last films I went to the pictures to see with my mum before COVID and all that struck.
I
So
literally can't remember the last film I went to see in the cinema, but I do like the idea of the cinema and the idea of sitting quietly in a big dark room for several hours.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
That's my idea of
That's
socialising.
Gathering.
If I'd known it was going to be the last film I'd ever get to see in a cinema, I would not have picked Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, I have to see that.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But what a story it's left you with.
Uh-huh.
You could put that into a story. The last film we saw was Sonic the Hedgehog. Is that the one with Jim Carrey as the bad guy?
Mhm.
Dr. Robotnik.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do actually have just behind me the Mega Drive Sonic games.
Martin is of a
Nice.
certain age.
Nice.
What 30?
Big fan. Big fan.
Actually, I think Martin, you're not the granddad of this group, are you?
You know, probably.
No,
me.
that's you, Dickie.
Rude. Rude, but also inaccurate because it's Barrett. He's the
Yes.
he's the old timer here.
He's our honoured guest. Don't be
I know.
saying that. He won't be having you back on to talk about the Thor when you finally finish the Thor. And he'll say, so Dickie, you going to have any sequels? And you're thinking, yeah, I'm thinking of Thor 4.
Ah.
Yes, Moses and I were friends.
Good one, but you don't
Right, let's get some writing done, shall we not?
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
So I'm going to do. Oh,
Cool.
Where's the video? Hang on, right. Sorry, I've not prepared this in advance very well at all today. I have got a custom timer, which Richard is struggling to find. think that's time. That flew by. Flew by.
It did.
How do we all get on?
That's an encouraging noise.
342 words.
And that's wonderful.
Nice.
Wow.
185.
264.
221.
229.
And
Yeah.
26.
Bennett
It's not bad.
just started flowing.
You are wordy.
I am. Thank you. It's better than fusty. I like to think I'm a bit erudite. That's a good word. Oh, that's a very good word.
Erudite.
Erudite.
That sounds like a type of rock.
Did you have your spreadsheet open to consult?
Which spreadsheets that? I've got so many, Martin, because I followed you into the rabbit hole of spreadsheets.
Spreadsheets before bed sheets.
See, I could write.
I'm going to fundamentally disagree.
I could write an accounting-based romance story about a man who wants to spread sheets.
No.
Very many puns.
No. You know what, Richard? My reply to that is there is a lady present. That is my reply. There is a lady present, and you've said that statement.
The lady
I
is
bel-
first, don't worry.
It's not the
Careful,
point.
he'll only turn around and say it is his lady present.
I thought he was talking about me.
Could be talking about you if you want.
No,
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Press. I couldn't say that about Hannah while she's here anyway.
Brilliant.
The chat has been a little bit active, which is always nice to see.
Okay.
Real life. I've never actually been to the circus, but
You've never been to a circus?
I've
Never been to
My cousin actually ran away to the circus and married a man from the circus.
I love that.
Yeah, they're really cool. They're such a cool couple.
I 100% believe they're super cool. I have a friend here who is an acrobat or travels with the circus. That's well, pre-Panini times they travel.
Yeah,
That's been,
very cool.
I've been to the fun fair, which is almost the same, isn't it? Ish.
No.
No, it's not. No.
You used to go to the fun fair for one ride and one ride only, which was the Dodgems. Or do we call them bumper cars in this country?
Either.
We call them dodgems up here in the north.
Above the wall.
Off the wall.
Aye,
North of the wall.
north of the wall. Yeah.
I always thought bumper cars, the aim was to bump the cars and dodgems was to avoid the cars.
These are fundamentally separate concepts, aren't they? I mean, bumper cars aren't really fun unless you're bumping people. That's not the whole point.
Until you get like in a corner and then you can't get out, and it's just like the worst.
Well,
Yeah.
if you enter a corner, that's your own fault for that strategic mistake.
And then you end up with like
At
whiplash.
which point I will not take any mercy on you. I'm fine. I don't drive like that in real life.
Or indeed at all.
I was going to say, do you drive? I don't know why. I don't put down as a driver.
I do have a car, but I don't particularly enjoy using it.
Fair enough.
Really?
What can I say? I'm used to being chauffeured everywhere.
Well,
I've got a certain lifestyle I'm accustomed to now.
In Croydon.
Croydon. I'm in Sutton, Hannah. There's a big difference.
So,
I don't
Richard,
feel like it.
Richard, blow your screen up.
Oh, my screen up.
Yeah, go full screen. Barrett, how would you sum up Richard's branding here?
First of all, I've already told him I absolutely love the background, so killing it. And the Hawaiian shirt, I mean, could there be anything more on brand?
I mean, really, though, with that blue background, surely he should be wearing some red to counter it.
Oh,
Martin, you're going to be so disappointed in this, but I'm completely colorblind. So, yeah. So I actually can't tell. It looked.
You only see in shades of grey.
I actually thought it was like a hunter green, so I was like, "Oh, you're really on trend," but I'm assuming it's blue. So
It
you like Hunter Green though?
yeah, me too. I mean, I do.
Do you know?
Well, what I like, people will be like, "But that's blue," and I'll be like, "But it looks green."
It's green.
A lot of the best color graders in film are actually colorblind.
I've heard this. What's that about?
Because they just go by the scopes and the data readouts rather than what they're the color they're seeing.
That's cool.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. First trip too.
magical.
So did anybody have a struggle with?
Yes, it was awful.
Yeah, same. I'm just blood all over the page.
I think the idea I've had is like a novel idea. It's not a Flash idea at all. So I'm just writing like a little tiny snippet. It's like too big a concept to squish into Flash.
Right.
Do you have any slots in your novel schedule to fit it in?
No.
It's on the pile.
Oh my
No
god.
more ideas, please. I'm kind of going a little bit kind of twee, kind of nostalgia. I'm kind of not sure whether to go creepy. I'm kind of going for a bit of a Downton Abbey kind of vibe. I've never watched that show, by the way.
Were you thriller? Wait, remind me what you were.
I was historical.
I was thriller.
Struggle. You're a thriller, Adam. Okay, and then you're Hannah's
Yeah.
sci-fi and okay. Well, I'm just telling y'all now. Dollhouses are really romantic, and I, for one, have been sitting there thinking I cannot think of anything more romantic than a dollhouse.
How are dollhouses romantic? The only thing I know about dollhouses is my eccentric aunt has.
I was thinking about my favorite eccentric older gay drag queen who has a bunch of creepy dollhouses in their house, and I'm thinking I could make that a horror romance, I guess. Went over to clean your house, and then you never let me leave. Now we're in love.
No, we've got Stockholm syndrome. Nice.
I've took some liberties with the prompt. I'm not going to lie. I've took some liberties.
That's
That's
fine.
fine.
Yeah, same.
But by liberties, I mean I have mentioned Dollhouse in it, and that's about it.
That's fine. I think one week I literally named a character the prompt just so I got the prompt in there.
Nice. I like it. I
On a
like
proper
it.
cheat.
Has any Hollywood actresses turned up in this one, Adam?
No, unfortunately not. And believe it or not, just for anyone who's keeping score, I am completely sober as I'm writing, which almost never happens. There is no alcohol in this story. There is no females in this story. I'm really out of my element, guys. I'm really like.
Did anyone
Really,
see
yeah.
that last stream with Kent where Colin was on it?
Yeah.
He
Yes.
was cream crack.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful to see.
There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes.
I think it was his birthday.
What was it?
I think it was.
Yesterday, but he was.
Oh, yeah.
He had 2 bottles of wine before the stream, and he was just in his element. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. So
I need to watch it back.
It's funny.
Yeah.
The last half hour is like just gold. Like Colin
It's amazing.
will not be on camera and not like gone, and then he just comes back and says something in the middle of other people talking, and it's like the funniest scene in a while.
It's great. It was great.
he is such a character. Bless him. He's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's all his stuff. Don't we? I've read
Big
one of
fan.
National
one of his stories, and it's pretty good. I read his Detroit Ghost story. Don't know if anyone's read that.
I must say I have not.
I have. It's good.
good job with that. Martin, what are you thinking about this present moment?
It's not funny. I can't make it funny. Why did you do this to me, Dickie?
Stop trying to make it funny.
Try and make it funny. Try and
No,
make it funny in an ironic sense.
I think if you stop trying to make it funny, it'll be funny.
The one about the shipwrecked sailor dying, that was hilarious. The one about the guy in the war being interrogated. I laugh a minute. This bollocks to this. Why did you do this to me, Dickie?
Why are you blaming me for this? You should blame the internet that gave you this sort of subject.
Because you went me next, and then took bloody whatever it was, but it wasn't as bad as this.
Historical. What would you have done for historical then?
Oh, I would have done something about box kite pilots in the 20s.
I'd like to read that.
Mm.
It's good to get you out of your comfort zone, isn't it? Actually, no, you're in.
No, this is terrible.
We will be the judge of that. We'll be the judge of that. Oh, yeah.
I feel very confident saying mine. It's also with Martin on the terrible. So I'm pre telling you now. This one's
Well, you've got 20 minutes to kind of really perk it up, Barrett.
okay.
How do you spell zhuzh?
You know, people have asked me. I really don't even know. So I don't know.
It's one of life's mysteries.
It is.
Martin, do you want to go for another sprint?
Okay, end it well.
Okay, I'm going to do the thing. And I've got to rewind the thing.
When in doubt, quote the Buffy musical.
What's that?
Once more with feeling.
Once more with feeling, yeah.
These guys get it.
Hey.
Richard, what?
I've let the slide down now. Right. On the count of 3, we're going to begin more of this writing lark. So, 1, 2, 3.
Richard.
Pens down.
I feel like we went way over because I got a lot done.
We did go like a teeny bit over.
Okay.
Only a teeny bit.
I'm good with it. That was a good round.
Much better the second time.
Yeah.
How did we do, everybody? What was the word counts? What were the feels?
317.
Way to go.
Wow.
Oh, sweet.
I just noticed I was muted. Sorry, all. I was talking to myself then. Oh, dear. 667, and this has got really intense now. So.
Wait, did you write 600 in that sprint, or did you total?
Total.
Okay.
So I have another
Still.
300.
600 words in 10 minutes. Oh.
I know. It's like, whew.
Wow.
Adam, how was it?
I'm at 419. I didn't manage to finish it though. I thought I would be able to finish it in that sprint, and it did not happen.
We've got one more, I think, right?
Do we have one
We
more?
have two more?
We do not.
No, we have 2 in total.
We have 2 in total. That's what I thought. So it did not end the way I thought it was going to end. But you know what?
I got a grand total of 607.
I got I like to see exactly. That's good. 607. Oh boy, I deleted my first 10 minutes and rewrote, so I ended up with 244.
No
That's
editing.
good.
We die like men.
What?
No editing. We die like men.
No, I know. Kent would be very disappointed, but
You shouldn't have done anything, though. You should have just kind of cut the space and just start again. You know, never delete anything. I'll never delete anything. Unfortunately.
I only did because I was afraid it would distract me to go back to that story.
Oh, that sounds juicy now. Is it particularly distracting?
It's not. I wrote a romance. My husband, if he's watching this, is laughing, going, "Really? You're writing romance?" Hubba hubba.
He's not got a romantic bone in his body.
That's exactly.
Well,
I don't know why your husband, I assume, to be a mutant from the deep south. I meant it in a good way.
Oh no, he's deep South Illinois. It all works. That fits. That tracks.
I've already had one email from Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I
Oh,
email?
no, it's supposed to email you.
Sorry.
No.
Missed
Oh,
it.
Email me. Carrier pigeon.
Oops.
I was wondering.
Is that
I was
another
wondering
font joke, Dickie?
Is that another joke?
Carrier pigeon.
Oh,
Carrier
mission.
pigeon. Oh, dearie me.
If anyone in the chat has joined us in Writing a Flash, there's an email address in the description to send it in if you want it read out. It's almost
Which
like you
brings me
had that prepared.
to my point. But before I forget, I am not 100% comfortable reading. I've got dyslexia. However, I was wondering if you would indulge me if I could possibly read my own story. I know it's only like 420 words, but I'm not very comfortable reading out loud. But you guys have made me feel really welcoming, so I'd like to try, but it would be quite a slog. Is that
give
okay?
it a go, and if you don't like it, you can read it in your head.
Yes,
Is it okay then if I just read it off my other screen
Yeah, of course.
and not send it to Richard then? Is that okay?
You can send it to
Okay.
me.
Sorry to just totally mess up the whole dynamic. But yeah.
Richard, tell me if that works. Oh wait, no, shoot, I didn't send it to the right place then if that's the email.
You can send it to my normal email, Barrett, if you want.
I did. I replied to what you sent me. Sorry.
I think, Adam, if you send it to me, I can put it on the screen for our wonderful audience. Ooh.
The chat are very keen to have you read it, Adam.
Yeah, I want to hear it too, Adam. Definitely. Same.
Harvey, that's nice. That is nice. I'm going to forgo sending it to you to have it up on the screen, if that's okay. I think that'll just distract me more, to be fair.
Right, that's fine. Do
Um,
you do you?
apologies, guys.
Run the chat.
No, I don't apologise. It's fine.
So Barrett, if Richard really wanted to be properly on brand, should his lower thirds here be the same colour as his background wall?
Yes, he would try to match them, and he could if he wanted to. He just needs that hex number. But what is on brand is that shirt. If he would wear those shirts in every single video,
yeah, he can be the Hawaiian shirt guy.
That's right.
The thing that really threw me when I was trying the whole OrthoTube thing and failing miserably was remembering to like record a couple in a row and then be like, change jumpers.
Yes.
New wardrobe.
Yes. I don't even bother to do that anymore.
Nah.
No.
People know.
There may have been times where I just wore the same T-shirt and just changed the colour in post.
You've got the thing.
Wear a green T-shirt so you can change the.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be green. You just need a hue. You just knock the hue saturation just slightly.
Oh, I was thinking you could like green screen like a different top on.
Like a floating unit.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
He got laid.
Oh dearie me.
I don't know why you're all laughing.
I thought I had a multicolour on, but I only found this pink one, which I've kept for some reason.
You like what you like.
Hannah, have you sent your story in?
Yeah.
Have you?
I mean, I think I did. Did I not?
Just checking my emails.
Am I in your spam?
Oh no, you are in my spam. I'm going to rescue you.
Why am I in your spam?
I don't know. It's very rude.
Do you use Outlook?
I do. I use the Outlook on the web.
Don't start him. Don't get him started.
Dodgy spam filters.
Well,
I used to think that Mac fanboys were the most annoying, and then it turned out that I met Richard and Microsoft fanboys were a thing.
Way worse.
I mean, not being funny, at work we moved from Outlook to Gmail for our email solution, and honestly, you don't know you're going to miss it if you don't have it anymore.
I did the other way around, and I hate Outlook.
We switched jobs then.
Yeah.
Literally, that's going to be like a requirement. Is please say use Outlook. Oh, an email.
It's me, Richard. That was me sending it to the right one.
I've got it. Yeah, wonderful. Lovely.
Did you have to set up a POP3 to get all your Richard Holliday addresses into your Outlook?
No.
I remember that being a thing like 20 years ago and then just went over to web-based and never looked back.
Who remembers floppy disks?
Oh.
Vaguely.
I remember more than that.
We've all had that.
Yeah.
Actual floppy disks, though, not the ones that you know you could go
big square
ones. That way.
Yeah.
I remember
the 3.5 inch ones, and there was the 5 1/4 inch. I think it was something like the 8.5 inch floppy disks. Those were the big guys.
I don't know what I find weirder, the save icon outlasting the floppy disk or the term podcast outlasting the iPod.
Those are both very good points.
I still have an iPod. I've not used it in a while, but I still have one.
I do too.
Martin, you're going to love this. I had a Zune.
One of these.
Yes.
Oh, creative! I had one of those.
Classic.
I had a creative one, which I've got somewhere. But I also had a Microsoft Zune MP3 player. Wow.
Yep. Still have it.
No, I had that in the green.
Apparently, the last generation of iPod people were buying up and now go for a fortune because there's a certain niche who don't like music on their phones.
Oh, God.
Really?
I get that.
Yeah.
Hang on, you can still buy iPods. They're like the iPod Touches, aren't they? It's not quite the same, is it?
No idea.
Don't know.
I don't think my thumb has got the kind of dexterity for that anymore.
That feels like a low-hanging fruit on the joke front. So I'm going to leave that one for our comedy writer.
No, it's not right.
Testicles.
Nailed it.
I'm tempted to put testicles on the list of good words because it does roll off the tongue quite well, doesn't it?
I love arduous. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, that's quite arduous.
I really
I like
it.
erroneous as well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Does it roll off the tongue? I think we should leave that to our erotica writer.
Mm.
I think so who's the erotica writer? Are you talking about me again?
Yes,
No.
of course.
I could call it an erotica, but no, it rolls off the tongue. What rolls off the tongue? Who knows? Leave it up to the viewer's imagination.
Wait till the sequel.
It rolls down your leg.
Oh.
No.
Is it an erotica? Is it a horror story? Who knows?
Oh,
It could be both.
Go either way.
Shall we read some stories then?
Let's do it.
Yes, let's.
I think that's a wonderful idea, Martin. Can you amuse the audience while I set this up?
So, funny story. Dickie here was talking to me about how he's never been particularly lucky in love. And I said, why is that, Dickie? And he said, I'm not like you. I've just never been particularly lucky. Lucky in love. I said, are you just quoting Kylie at me? And you said, yes, I am. I thought it would be a good way to vamp for a few minutes whilst we covered this gap.
Is that a true story?
You asked for it.
I did. I really did.
Yes.
I'm now going to mute Martin.
Are you ready now? Because he was saying he wanted to have a weekend away. And he said, all this COVID stuff, I'm not sure about public transport. I said, it's fine. It's all over now. Do the locomotive.
Ugh.
Man.
That'd be illegal, wouldn't it?
Goodness.
Hey, it's that guy I am.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me.
Oh, I've got to get rid of this. It's covering my face.
Oh, what an improvement. How's that for branding?
Okay, Martin, as you are our esteemed and wonderful and very respectful host, you can go first.
Right, let's get this out of the way. Sorry, everyone.
That's what she said.
Dan froze. He was dead. This was death. Warmed up and cooled down. Eck. The crowd stared at him. He could only make out their silhouettes from the bright stage light shining down upon him. The comedy club was silent. He didn't know what else to do. He repeated his last line again. It's a doll's house. Still nothing. The stagehand that wheeled the Victorian children's dollhouse on stage awkwardly slid back to the corners. He'd hoped they'd laugh at the elaborate prop. This wasn't part of their plan. Bollocks. He turned around whilst he took a sip of water to rethink it all. The blank brickwork of the comedy club stared back at him. Great. It wasn't bad enough that the crowd were doing the same thing. What's black and white and red all over? Dan asked the crowd, the microphone slipping in his sweaty hands. Your shit, mate, a heckler called out. Ah, well, go big or go home. He reached out and kicked the dollhouse over. It was over 120 years old, on loan from the V&A Museum. This might have been a mistake. The crowd loved it. In your face, dollies, he yelled. That seemed to go down well. He might win them back yet. Then it happened. The side of the building was ripped away. Dan stared at them. Huge, backlit, he could only see shadows, huge shadows, and apparently children. It's not funny. One of them, a girl of no more than 7 and a good 2 stories high, was complaining. Make it funny. We got the comedy basement. You said you wanted a comedy basement. Honestly, what kind of 7-year-old wants a comedy basement added to their doll's house? The other, presumably her teen sister, was mocking her. They said it would have a cool smoke effect. No, they banned smoking. Plus, you hate smoking. You always make an over-exaggerated yuck sound whenever anyone lights up. I do not. The elder pulled out a cig. From Dan's perspective, it was at least 1.5 meters in length. She lit it, and the orange glow illuminated the whole room. No one else seemed to notice. No one else seemed to be doing much of anything. Oh, yuck! The younger one protested as she smelled the smoke. See? Oh, I hate you! She yelled and stormed off. The wall closed up. The crowd was in hysterics. The light signal that Dan's slot was up, and he thanked them and headed back off stage where his agent Dickie was waiting. Rough start, but I loved it! The guy at IDG Television was in the crowd! That's the one thing on Saturday night. Yeah, they want you to do the exact thing for the execs tomorrow. All you gotta do is repeat it exactly and your job is yours. Repeat what? Dan said blankly. Everything after you smashed that doll's house. What were you thinking? We're going to have to pay the VNA a fortune. Everything after? Yeah, the funny bit at the end. Classic. Loved it. What happened? I saw the walls open and the giant children bickering. Dickie slapped his shoulder and wandered off, muttering, Funny guy. Dan comforted himself with alcohol. He realised he need not worry about the audition. He'd never leave. The house was upstairs, but that was his whole world now. Why did he have to learn the truth? What could he do? There was no way out. He'd have to do the same show tomorrow night, and the next night, and the next.
I like it.
Yeah, I thought it was very funny.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, what's funnier than existential dread? Nothing.
Indeed.
Very true.
It's true.
Very clever. It was nearly like a horror in a way, if you think about it.
That's what I was thinking. It was like a kind of a creepy ending.
Mm.
I liked it.
Good job.
Yeah, me too.
It was funny, so you fulfilled the requirements of your genre, Martin. By making it.
Well, good.
Thank goodness.
And you crushed the dollhouse, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a request for Barrett to start dancing.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
Nope. I've rapped in the last 2 weeks. That's
You
enough.
did, Matt.
Never again.
It looks like the next lovely person to read is the lovely Hannah Palmer.
Oh, go on then. The doll's house is a ship. Well, actually, it's the nickname for a ship. And when I say ship, I don't suppose it's quite the kind of ship you'd be accustomed to. The doll's house is a 42-roomed maze of a burrow, tied together with snaking corridors of flickering LED strip lights that hang from their fittings like strawberry laces. It is grand and monstrous and imposing, a beacon of life that drifts between planets in search of a suitable home for a species that destroyed the bed it slept in. Apologies, I mean it was grand. Don't shit where you eat, that's what they used to say, back when I wasn't drifting around in a hunk of metal in the ether. Back when the soles of my shoes pounded the concrete and the mud and the sand before they reverberated off the hollow aerospace-grade aluminium that hangs suspended beneath my feet now. Oh, Richard. Thank you. Don't shit where you eat. That's what they should have said is don't set fire to where you sleep. The doll's house is a ship, with all except 41 rooms standing hollow, empty. And when I say empty, what I mean is devoid of life, though not empty in the traditional sense. There are bodies just about everywhere, in every corner, draped across the corridors, stretched across the control panels. Some died where they ate, some partway through a conversation. Gage and Nadia were halfway through a game of cards. There's not a single mark on a single body in this ship. And when I say mark, I of course mean evidence of foul play, or an attack of the extraterrestrial kind. But that doesn't matter now. What matters is they're all dead, and I'm the only one still animated. I'm the only one left to steer this ship and land it on the closest planet, which is exactly what I'll do. Yeah.
That was good. That was creepy. And I kind of like the idea of the doll's house being a ship. That's interesting.
So smart and so good. Like,
I want to read more of that. That's definitely got to be a novel.
Yeah,
I feel
I had
like
notes.
it just sums up our current predicament as well.
Yeah. Green.
No, I loved it. Did you even use dialogue? Did you have to use dialogue at all? I didn't think so. Really?
No, it's kind of like monologue-y.
That's okay. I leaned on dialogue, so this was awesome. Like, holy moly, good.
I like a bit of present tense.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
really added to the tension, which I think was like your hallmark, Hannah, you're very good at that.
Yeah, I watched was it Kate Kavanagh and Jess's video the other day with an unpopular opinions thing, and someone's unpopular opinion was
Lazy.
first person present tense is lazy writing. Ow!
I find, first person quite difficult, to be honest.
I do too. I think that's a swipe at YA since so much of it is first person. So I always feel like that unpopular opinion is swiping at the, and then believe me, it does go bad in YA a lot of times. So I'm not saying it doesn't, but I think that's where that awful opinion comes from.
Yeah, potentially. I have read some bad first person. It does have to be done quite well, I think.
But I feel like that's anything, right? We've read a little bit of bad of all of it, so it's like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's
That
late.
was good. That really did draw me in. I would love to read more of that and just find out what the sort of mystery is.
Same.
I'll add it to the queue.
Add it to the big pile of ideas.
Yeah.
It's always good to have a big pile and not think, oh, I'm going to run out of ideas. The tank's empty. That's really good.
There is that.
That's true.
But you always kind of, you get these ideas. Good. Should we move on to numero 30?
Was that Italian?
Who knows? And it is over to our resident Lothario, the lovely Barrett. He's going to serenade us with this romantic tale.
Yeah. Just lower your expectations.
Okay.
You'll be thrilled.
That's what she said.
Well, pretty much how dating went for me.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay. And I just read? You ready? Oh.
Read out loud, preferably.
Oh no, I thought you said wait. I was waiting on you. Okay, sorry. This is off to a great start. The knock at the door shook Dorinda from her daze. She looked down at her son, still crying. She gave him a reassuring squeeze before moving to answer the door. When the door opened, there was Greg awkwardly holding the Barbie dream house box that was just too big to be easy to manage. Dorinda, I'm so sorry for what happened at the birthday party. That was cruel. May I come in? She wasn't sure whether she trusted his intentions yet or not, but she invited him inside anyway. He set the Barbie dream house down next to the door and stepped inside. I bought him one. I hope that's okay. If he doesn't have any dolls, Jessica has more than any kid ever needs, he said, nervously rubbing his hands together. That's really sweet of you. I'm sorry we left the party in such a rush. He was just so upset and no, please don't apologize. You were my guest. You both were, and I let that happen. Just when I was trying to work up the nerve to ask you out, the whole dollhouse controversy began. What makes parents think they should tell other parents how to raise their kids in front of other people, no less? He asked. Ask me out? But why would you want to do that? She asked, immediately regretting the question as soon as they left her lips. He tugged at her stained t-shirt, and I ran out of time because I deleted the first half. So that's the best I can do.
I want to know more.
I want to know more.
I want to know as well.
I like how it builds on what's gone on scene.
No, I like that. I like
I like it.
I like it. That's good.
I wish you'd have finished it.
Well, okay. Romance. All right.
Put it on the pile. I suppose Adam should read next.
Please.
What I'm going to do is. Oh.
Well, hello there. No pressure. So you just want me just take a moment and then start?
It's better if you wait about a minute of just dead silence.
Yeah.
That's really the way to go.
That's the best thing, yeah. Right, okay.
That's really adding to the mood.
I'm so not up for this, but right, okay. Right, we ready?
Yeah.
Right. The first thing that struck me was how many windows the place had. Around 6. What do they need with 6 windows? It didn't matter. They were on me. I hopped up the stairs and grabbed the brass doorknob, shouldering my way inside. I was now in what could only be described as a lobby, with a grand staircase in front of me and a chandelier above me, and one to the right in the dining room. This place was either a doll's house or the house from Home Alone. Then came the howling in the distance. I bolted up the stairs, ignoring the alluring vanished banister. I took them two at a time. Speed was the name of the game. Getting to the top, I turned left and left again and crashed through the first door I seen, slamming it behind me. I was in a bedroom, a large bedroom, with a 4-poster bed, chest of drawers, large mirror, you name it, it was in this room. Have to escape. The window. I clawed at the window, but it wouldn't open. Through it, I heard the sound of scraping getting louder and louder as my heartbeat thumped like drums in my ears. Then came the smell. It engulfed the whole house, for it was not one smell, but 3. Sweat, urine, and wet dog. There was no way out. I grabbed the nearby chair and fumblingly put it under the handle of the door. That would buy me some time. Then I heard the thump of their arrival. They were here. I tried not to panic or breathe. I jumped at the sudden crashing of plates and cutlery and possibly the chandelier coming from the dining room. I punched and bashed at the window again and again and again. It wouldn't give. Then came the rhythmic pitter-patter. They were on the stairs. Suddenly, all was silent. Then came another blood-curdling howl. The ground shook, followed by a bash at the door. Dust and debris shot towards me. Behind the door was growling and barking. It wouldn't hold. As if on cue, the door exploded. The chair threw over me and into the window. I jumped on my belly as the shards of the door and glass tumbled on top of me. I turned back to see my predators, all 3, hunched down, ready to pounce. Black fur over caved-in ribs, half-animated faces, and jawlines that were lined with rows upon rows of flesh-tearing teeth, capped off with red eyes. Hellhounds. And that's how it finishes.
That is a good finish for Flash.
To be honest, I did have another sequence, but I didn't get it out. He's supposed to, or he, whatever, is supposed to jump out the window. But I ran out of time, so it was just Hellhounds.
I think it works as it is.
Very atmospheric.
It was very cool.
I hated reading that out. I sound, dare I say it, so Scottish when I read that out.
You did, but that's because you are.
It's better. I think it's even better.
Yeah.
You
like
have
atmospheric.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank
you. Thank you very much.
With Ken Starr.
I was going to say David Tennant, because it's the only Scottish accent.
But, thank you for that.
That was really good.
But thanks for giving me the opportunity to do that. That's put a smile on my face.
Good.
So thank you very much.
Really well.
Really awesome.
Thank you.
Mad props.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
It's like Hound of the Baskervilles stuff going on.
yeah, I just want to know what's going on. You was pretty gripping. I was like, I want to know what happens if he gets away. And then you did really well. Your description is
I think you might be
really
disappointed there.
Sorry?
I think you might be disappointed if you think he gets away.
No, he doesn't in the end. I was thinking, what's going to happen? But yeah, it's very gripping and very, very good descriptive work there. So well done.
Yeah, thank you.
I loved it.
Right. I suppose it's time to lower the tone, isn't it?
Is that time?
Just got to get my story up. Window. Oh. Okay, shall I begin? She crept through the door. It was just ajar, like always. Beyond, motes of dust hung into the air. The stairway, replete in wood panelling, beckoned. It led her up, the boards creaking under the pads of the little girl's foot. Elsa, a voice called. It was Nanny. Not her actual nanny, mind you, but that which dear mother had introduced her. This one, anyway. There had been many nannies in Elsa's 12 years, and they all looked different. And the couple was homely and kind, but she'd gone away, probably in heaven now, where the aprons formed succulent clouds. And Hester was a bit more brash, more bony, less like a dumpling or a futon for Elsa to cuddle into. Nana Palmer was the worst. Well, not the worst, but the one she remembered the least. Something about a door, but this was Nana Kind that was calling. Elsa smiled on the precipice of the staircase, which wound upwards to a part of the house she'd never found before. I'm here, she called. Her voice was sweet, saccharine, a cadence that kept butter solidified. What is it? To the parlour now, child. Your parents are waiting. Where are you, anyway? Elsa scampered down. Mama and Papa wouldn't wait for her. She scurried down to the hall, to the stairs where Nana Kind waited, hands on hips. Dust on your cardigan. It just won't do, you know, the older lady said, brushing Elsa. You've been doing your exploring again, haven't you? I thought I'd found it. Found what? Mama's dolls. I heard her talking about them. To Papa. A gift from Grandma Revere. I think they're in the don't say attic, dear. This is an old house, Nana Kind said, leading Elsa towards the parlour. Many secrets here. A little girl might get lost. And then what would Mama and Papa have to look after? Elsa looked to the floor. Brother Joshua was always with her, even if he wasn't in the house. They hadn't heard from his regiment in a long time. Kind opened the door to the parlour. The chandelier swung ever so slightly in the breeze. More motes of dust hung in the air around it, steeping the room in twinkles. Ah, Elsa, dearest, come in, Papa said. He wasn't eating. His face was ashen, his visage stoic, but for a tiny waver in the corner of his eye. There was no food on the table. Something was wrong. Elsa hopped towards the table. There was no food on the table. Papa was holding Mama's hand. Between them, a slip of canary yellow paper stamped with letters. Papa embraced his daughter tight to his chest, then released her. What's happened? Sit down, Mama said. She nodded. Kind left, the doors closing with a snap behind her. Elsa, love, your brother. He's coming home? Mama and Papa looked to each other. They swallowed. A lump like an apple descended both of their throats. Papa started. His words trailed off. He's been... Tell her, Mama said. She needs to know. Your brother Joshua has been injured, they think. He might not make it. He probably won't make it. What's happened? I thought he was fighting. There are these machines, Elsa, Papa said. They're called machine guns. They spit out bullets. That's enough, Mama said. Your brother Joshua, he's going to heaven. He might be there already. Elsa stepped back. You're lying. You said this wouldn't happen. Not to Joshua. Love, Papa said, reaching out, but Elsa turned and ran, spurning her father's comforting touch. The door to the parlour flung open. Miss Elsa, Nana Kind cooed, but Elsa stopped in the middle of the hall. They said he was dead. My brother, Joshua, dead. They're lies. It can't be true, she said, wailing, sniffling, and running up the stairs. Kind turned. Mama and Papa were there, hand in hand. Mama's eyes were glassy, full of tears, a hand close to her mouth as it quivered. And that's as far as I got.
Oh, Richard.
That was depressing and lovely. You managed to do death in a dollhouse.
So can we kind of guess the kind of historical period I went for? Like
World War II.
Downton Abbey, kind of like World War One.
World War One.
Yeah.
1978.
Yesterday.
We killed on the dance floor doing boogieing.
Tomorrow. Ah.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised how intense that turned in the sort of second sprint, but yeah, I do want to finish that now.
You think so?
You always want to finish them. You missed the point.
Because I'm about 2/3 of the way through. Because the idea was she goes upstairs and finds her mum's dolls, and it kind of reminds her of her brother, sort of something along those lines. So yeah. So Barrett said it was depressing, but
No. I meant sad. I mean, sad story. Everyone wants to think about poor Joshua out there getting shot up with a machine gun because that wasn't pretty, I'm sure. So,
I didn't expect it to take that turn when I was writing it either.
I hate to put words in Barrett's mouth, but I think by depressing, I think he means art.
Yes. Literature.
Literature, darling.
Proper literature.
Whopper.
No, I like the story.
Yeah, me too.
I do.
Might have been like a surprise to people who've read my sort of stories before, but I enjoyed writing that. Actually, I thought that's kind of really sort of characterful. Yeah.
Could use more jokes.
Always.
You could say his experience in the trenches was a right guess.
Oh,
God. Like when they said, sit down, dear, like they could have kicked the chair out from under and had a womp womp.
No.
Say that.
It is art.
Seth
Oh.
Card.
Où est la bibliothèque? J'aime le poulet.
Oh, yeah,
Look at
you live in France for a short while, didn't you, Martin? So you must know some French.
Well, they say you only remember it whilst you're using it, and I haven't been using it.
Have you been using it?
I haven't been using it.
Are we still talking about the French?
Still talking about the French. Well, not the French.
Just making
French,
sure.
as in the language.
Not the French. Yeah.
No, I'm glad we all like that. But yeah, no, it's interesting. 'Cause I didn't know what to write about Festival. I thought, what can I do? But I thought.
It's difficult when you have a genre forced upon you, isn't it?
Well, even if it's your preferred genre, Martin.
Probably sci-fi.
Sci-fi wasn't too bad. Romance was interesting.
Romance scares me.
Awful.
I think Barrett has a future as a romance author.
There's good money in it.
I'll never get agented or sold because there's no magic coming out of that genre for me. I do know
Who
there's
needs an agent these days, Grandad? Get on KDP.
Oh, I know. Well, no.
What you want to do, write write one of his Outlander steamy Scottish historicals, and then get Adam here to narrate it. You'll be raking it in.
I know exactly. That's what I need. I need that in my life.
The stories are good.
I'm not gonna lie. I would do that actually.
Romance?
Yeah, I would do that. Well, I meant the kind of books on tape.
Don't limit yourself.
Don't limit myself. No,
if it's not been taken off the table, don't.
No, I'm working on what I believe to be, dare I say it, possibly a novel that is sort of romantic. It's like Notting Hill but in reverse. If you remember that movie.
I think this
So instead of like a normal guy bumping into like an actress in his hometown, it's about a normal guy who gets transported to Hollywood and falls in love with an actress and then basically needs to leave. And it's kind of about that.
Is it based on personal experience?
I wish it was more like wish fulfillment and BS. Wish fulfillment and BS. It's actually not. It's actually based on a short story idea that was running around my head for years. And I do this, and so you may notice if you've read my work, I put song lyrics in everything. Even when I'm talking, I will quote song lyrics to people just to see if they know that they're song lyrics. So I had this great short story idea of what happens if a guy meets a girl and then speaks to her only in song lyrics until the very end.
You must love paying royalties.
Yeah, I was going to say.
There's going to be...
Well, it depends on the song lyric, and it depends on how much of it you're using, which is going to be the big problem. But it's a problem that I just have. That piece actually is probably the piece I read to you. It's probably the first piece I've done forever that has no inside jokes. There's no callbacks to maybe anything at all in there. Whereas, if someone had to read my work and knew me personally, they'd go, "Oh, that's from this action movie. That's from this song. That's from this." So there was none of that here. Actually, I feel quite naked, for lack of better words. Actually, So I'm looking to do my first novel to be that idea, because it's like the girl that got away, only she didn't actually get away. She's still in your life and she's still really single, and you're like, right, well, it's maybe about time to, bite the bullet and ask her out and see what happens. So I'm a couple of chapters in.
That's a romance. Yeah, you've got it.
Some of the best advice I ever had was, and this is just going to sound, I don't mean for this to sound damning, this isn't aimed at you at all, but write your first novel to know it's not impossible, and then bury it and write your second novel.
No, I have heard that as well. Yep. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
My first novel's awful. I've not even gone back to look at it. It's
my first novel is so bad, but you know what it is? It proved to me that I can actually write a novel. So, done other things. I mean, we've got an idea here, me and Barrett, to write an epic erotic space opera.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
is the title Spaceballs? You know, can you use that, or is that
I was
copyrighted?
thinking the black hole.
Can I just ask what the difference is between like just a basic erotic space opera and like the fact that it's epic? Like,
Epic.
what do we
Really
have to
long.
do to take it to? Oh,
I believe it's
Really?
good.
extended
Oh,
and uncut.
Extended.
oh.
I think the quest could be to win over the red giant
Well,
with a dwarf star.
we all had nicknames in college, Richard.
Oh dear, that could be the final frontier, couldn't it?
Oh, well, it would be since I want to write Kidlit. So yes, that would definitely be the final frontier for me.
That's
on
pen
this
name time.
journey. Yeah.
You could write it under a nom de plume. Pen name.
Okay, yeah, I'll come up with something fun that's kinky and fits the
You could be Laurie Barrett.
beret. And we go French.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Adam, do you have an outline or are you pantsing?
I am. You mean for this possible novel that now I've announced to the world, so
But
actually
you've
has to
committed
be
to.
written. I've
Send it on the
committed to.
internet.
I kind of do and I kind of don't. Like I've got an outline, very basic, written down. But I have got. I'm more of a kind of scenes guy. Like I like to like take very, and I don't mean I'm like this at all, but very almost like John Hughes. Like you go, let's take these characters and put them in this situation and just see what happens. So I've got like I've got a lot of scenes like that. I don't have an out and out outline, but I've got if someone had to ask me to go right, just speak me the story and just plot points, I would be able to run through it for them.
I mean, if it helps,
because it's been forming.
I have a video on my story sheet, spreadsheet outlining method, which we can link below.
Please do.
I'm always happy to. I'm always happy to watch these type of
It's
videos.
about 2 minutes, and I talk about jelly. It's great.
It's a very excellent video.
It sounds fantastic.
If I was smart, I'd stretch it out to 5 hours and charge $200 a pop. But I'm not. So,
how do you guys feel about that sort of stuff? Like people who monetize certain things. Like I know that it happens round about NaNoWriMo. You get people who like I guarantee that you'll win NaNoWriMo, but give me $250, and you're like, what? Like,
I don't know if I just hide from this part of the
one of those
internet, but I
things.
never see any of this. I haven't.
To be honest, I've only ever seen it twice. But other people in AuthorTube have brought it to my attention and done their own videos on it. They've also you get the writing master classes by like people that I don't know who it was. Like
juicy prizes for winning, but it's easy to fake winning at NaNoWriMo. So you kind of
You're only cheating yourself though if you fake it.
exactly. You lose that sort of sense of accomplishment, which is so powerful.
I find most of the paid content is out there for free. You might have to skim through a lot of, stuff like Richard's newsletter to get to the good stuff.
If you subscribe to my newsletter, you get this for free.
This the wall.
the wall.
You get to own a house in Sutton? That's amazing. Being a London homeowner. Wow.
I'm going to unsubscribe.
Can I unsubscribe?
I don't want to live in London.
Adam, I would say any income stream someone can figure out is a good one. And
I know, yeah.
I think there are different ways to do it. The biggest one that I wish more of us would do on AuthorTube is the affiliate links, because you can start to do that now. And as you grow, my first month, I think I got like 84 cents. And this month, it's electing $8 and something, but it's grown 10 times because my views have jumped over the summer. So you know what I'm saying? I put those in June, but they're paying dividends now. And if that continues to grow,
People click on them.
then they'll continue.
Have you looked into Facebook paid events?
I haven't. I've heard about it, but I don't really know.
They suspended Facebook don't take a cut during the pandemic. So if you can get people to sign, basically it's a live stream, and if you can convince people to pay whatever you want to charge, then you get all of that minus like tax. Mrs. Lejeune's done some for her her sewing stuff.
Cool. I'll have to check it out. I'm rarely on the FB because it turns out I had a bunch of wild people in my family a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna need to get off of here for a little while. So I haven't ventured back on very much, but I will, because that's interesting. But no, I'm kind of trying lots of things because, Adam, I want to try to, in the series when I'm done that's about marketing, I kind of want to end it with ways people can make money before you monetize. So I'm trying lots of different ways. The one I'm not going to do is paid courses because all I could sell is not writing related. So my master's degrees are in business and finance, and like I haven't published yet, so I don't really have anything to sell.
I watched the Aaron Sorkin masterclass.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Like, the thing with masterclass is the people they get are people who are very successful at what they do, and not necessarily people who are good teachers. And they're on a sliding scale, they're more towards entertainment than educational. And I've got the Neil Gaiman one to watch, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good stuff in there, but I don't know if it would be my go-to for, learning. And I think if you know that going in, that's okay. And I think they've got quite a good, they've got like a more of a Netflix model now than they did starting out. So you can not pay very much and get access to quite a lot, which is better for that kind of thing. But it's, I know when you first start out and you start looking at all these, how to write stuff, it all can be a bit overwhelming. And then you sort of get enough of it that you start to pick it up, and then you've picked up enough of it that you're like, well, I don't need necessarily this anymore. So yeah.
The masterclass, I watched the Margaret Atwood one, and the way I described it to people was it was sort of like an Oprah interview, but with like more craft discussions. Like it was very much like her life and her publishing journey and all the things, but I was like, it wasn't so much like the how of the thing.
Is that
I'd say the Gaiman one is quite similar.
So you know what I mean? It was great. I mean, it was good, but like $100 really.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones actually was quite random. Shonda Rhimes' one is really good.
Loved her.
I
read her Year of Yes. Such a good book. So
what's kind of interesting to me is kind of people talking about their nuts and bolts about their craft, so I can kind of take those ideas away and implement them into my own way of working. That's how I kind of sort of grow as how. I mean, funny, I know me and Martin joke about it, but I use the spreadsheets all the time now, and it's really helped. Use the Hero's Journey. The 5 Commandments of Story helped tons with this. It actually makes really, it really helped. And so, yeah, I'm always kind of trying to learn from other writers how they sort of work. So, yeah, I suppose kind of if they're not talking about their kind of lots of lives, you kind of got to glean that information from what they're saying to you.
Have you guys found that there's been one source that's when you were starting out, or that really made things click, like one book or one course or one
On Writing video? Was a good one.
Yeah.
I'm still haunted by those eggs.
What?
I kind of wish I'd done On Writing at university. At university we had to read.
Stephen King had a nanny who force-fed him eggs until he threw up all over his mum's shoes.
Ew.
Yeah. And would stuff him under a 1950s dress and fart and laugh.
That kind of explains quite a lot, in a way.
Probably explains the cocaine years.
Yeah.
I had to read.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Elements of Style.
That's a good reference.
Right, okay.
That's the one I always have close, although it wasn't close today, of course. But normally it would be close.
Yeah, that one's good.
And everything was through my Writers Guild. So my local Writers Guild here in St. Louis, their workshops were awesome. And they'd have authors come in, self-published, hybrid published, traditional published, and they'd do like a workshop. That was where I learned the most, was like just those half-day intensives where you'd break off and do different kinds of fiction and different kinds of it's not playing, it felt like playing, but like workshop stuff where you're just kind of doing activities. And so anyway, that was where I learned the most, and buy a lot of this kind of stuff was just what we were using that day. I'd be like, oh cool, and buy it. So.
Funnily enough, I know there is a local writers circle in my town, and last year or end of 2019, I said, "Oh, next year I'm going to join the writers group and I'm going to start going to those in-person meetings." We all know what happened last year, don't we? I have found the Discord community. It's been really good.
Yeah.
So,
why I'm here.
I would love to come start doing those in-person sort of writing group meetings and sort of get my work out there. But the Discord has been really good. So those sort of online communities have really kind of filled that kind of gap. And some great people in there.
Yeah, true.
Me.
I don't know if I should admit to this or not, but when I was starting out, I found Save the Cat really useful. And it was one of those it was one of those books I read and I'm like, I'm ignoring half of this because it's clearly bullshit. Like he has a chapter in the original where he slags off Memento and it's just like, that movie made no money, so I don't care. And you're like, yeah, but mate, it follows all your rules in its own way. Why can't you see that? And fair play to him. He did put out, like, when he put out his third book, he did chill out a lot more and was like, yeah, some things don't fit into my my rules. Find your own path. I don't know what happened to my accent. But for all, like when I first read it, I did find it quite frustrating because it's just like, here's a grid and figure it out. But now I've done it a few times. I'm like, I just want a grid. I don't want to figure out what the B story is on page whatever. I just kind of know that let's break it into quarters. And as long as we change direction every sort of, 25%, we're probably going to have something that's going to have a good pace.
Yeah, I've yet to read it, but everyone on AuthorTube, everyone seems to give it most of the ones I've seen give it the thumbs up of approval. So I've yet to.
Mm-hmm.
It's love or hate.
I've yet to. Yeah,
it's love or hate. It's very little in between.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm down with it.
Yeah, I like it too.
So I like the beat sheets. I think.
Yep.
Yeah, they've been really helpful. I did a beat sheet for this, which really helped.
Yeah.
I downloaded a beat sheet for a horror novel when I was trying to write a 12,000 word short story. Hence, this book ended up. Works, but it really helped. Actually, really good, and it's definitely kind of revolutionised my sort of planning process, which is. Yeah, I think a lot of people actually seem to kind of write off the planning and outlining phase, and I think who is it that said outlining is writing? I think that was Ken Shaw, wasn't it? But it is.
I think it was.
It is just. I think a lot of people think, outlining, I'll just do a little bit of it for a weekend, and then boom, get into the real writing. It is definitely just as important, if not more important, than when you're actually kind of just slaying words down on the page.
My thinking is if you don't outline, your first draft is your outline, and that's a really inelegant way to work. There's much quicker and more efficient ways to get those words down.
Yes.
But it used to be like sort of pantsing's more of a term now, but it used to be considered called organic writing, and it's like
discovery.
Oh, so is it inorganic if I think ahead?
Give me the GMO writing any day. Like, fill me up with MSG and all that.
No, 20s again.
No, but I agree with that take.
No, I definitely. But I think that there's no shame in sort of planning. The thing is, you don't have to plan it down to the precise sentence. You just give yourself like a framework to go by.
Well, it can change, right? Like you can write. I mean, you can be writing and be like, "Oh, wait, I'm going to make a twist." And I mean, it's not like you're. That's the thing. I think that when I talk to pantsers, and I'm like, "No, I like the plot," and they're like, "Oh, I couldn't possibly." It's like it's not like it's set in stone. You can still change stuff. It's just it's a framework. It gives me, it's how I land the plane. Otherwise, I just keep talking or like,
Right, you go off on these weird tangents. That you just
400,000 words later, I've written a lovely contemporary for middle grade that's a little long. Like I need an outline.
Another thing I found really useful was a book by a woman called Pamela Douglas called Writing the Television Drama, which might not be the initial go-to for novels, but it breaks down TV writing really well and talks about how if you've got like an A, B, and C plot, how much time should be devoted to each one. And actually, my current trilogy is sort of like Game of Thrones, the Expanse with multiple POVs, and I've sort of used that as a basis. And like the A plot is about roughly half the runtime, and then the B and C plots are half of what's left over. And I sort of use that as a framework to get that structure, and it's been really bloody helpful.
What was the name of the author, Martin?
Pamela Douglas.
The reason that's so interesting to me is something I'm really wanting to learn a little bit about is something I'm seeing a couple author tubers do that's smart is fiction, podcast fiction. And they're doing it themselves. They're writing it, they're recording it, they're doing it all themselves. But that kind of book would be helpful to kind of get that different kind of serial style writing, I'm assuming. Or for Vella, anybody who's maybe doing Vella, that would be a resource.
I've actually got a whole comedy series of a audio drama scripted just sitting on a hard drive. I really should get that produced because it's been something I've been working on for a decade or more in various forms.
Get that idea out of you, Martin, so you can get something new in there.
But it turns out there's not as much money in that. It turns out all a novel involves is writing it down, and then you can sell it much easier.
Podcast harder to figure out though.
But me and my writing partner love the idea of doing a serial where you essentially use TV structure, and each release is basically one act of the episode. So
interesting.
It's cool. Like cliffhanger after cliffhanger.
Exactly.
We'll have a good cliffhanger.
It's like I've got a writing partner, and he's so good at like mini cliffhangers. Like I get his drafts back. I'm like, I know I wrote this, but I need to know what happens next.
It's powerful. That is. That's very good.
Hannah, what's your writing process? Do you write every day? Do you have a word goal?
I don't write every day. I try to do something towards writing every day, but I don't necessarily write every day.
A video where you switched with somebody for a day, right? Was it Bethany?
Oh, it was Bethany.
Which I watched it. It was good. Where you did each other.
Both of those videos were basically just us looking at each other's like formats of the day and going, "Well, I can't do that, so I won't." Loads of her stuff was like, and then I'll go out for dinner in the evening, and this was in the midst of our like proper lockdown. I thought, well, I can't do that.
Can't do that.
Can't do that. Yeah, can't do that. Yeah, that was good fun though.
I think, it's good to set up like a healthy writing habit. So I don't write every day. I try to do something writing related most of the week. So I might be planning, like my next newsletter or trying to organise some ideas. I kind of try to organise it like what am I doing this month. It's kind of broken down a little bit. But I just try and work on whatever I'm doing. I've got to do something called an idea audit at the moment because I've got too many ideas. I don't kind of know the priority of them. I need to kind of work out which is next in line for next year, which is going, in the drawer, so to speak. So I need to kind of organise them a bit better.
Richard, can you show us your whiteboards?
I can't. There's nothing on it, and it's behind the camera. I'm not moving the camera. But I have to say, I have a whiteboard literally there. It's like in the corner of my eye, so I can put something on. I literally have done, and it was like 2 a.m, had a story idea, come in here, whiteboard cleared, scribble all over it in the different colours, take a photo of it, erase it, next whiteboard, more ideas, take a photo of it. That's my sort of like, I think from when I'm first mapping out an idea, like fresh from here, like it's never, seen the light of day yet. it goes on the whiteboard, just kind of throw it against the wall, see if it sticks.
Mm-hmm.
I would 100% recommend that approach. And sometimes having it as like an analog approach, just having it on a whiteboard that you can scribble on, or even a piece of paper would do, just kind of help before you kind of commit it to like a digital organisation.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I disagree entirely. I love everything being in the cloud, and I can just access
obviously,
wherever I am on whatever I am, and I can save it. I try not.
Yeah, go on.
I try not to have regrets in my life, but when we first moved to this house, someone, a friend of my wife's, was like, "Yeah, my work are chucking out this huge whiteboard. Do you watch it? Do you want it?" And I'm like, for some reason, I said, "No." Why? Why would I say that? I want a huge whiteboard now.
I want to colour this whole wall in white. I was getting all the pictures. I certainly want to get rid of my degree.
You were saying you like French design.
He's getting a little beautiful mind. I'd love to have a cork board. You know what I mean? Like the giant.
With the strings, like.
Yeah. Where you can like stick pictures and things too, because then I don't know. I feel like.
They have a mood board. Yeah. I kind of do what you're all saying, but like online. So there's a site called Miro, which is just a whiteboard app. Just do it online and save it all online.
I think our friend Dan Hook, he did a video about Scapple, which is from the Scrivener people. It's like a sort of free-form, sort of, whiteboard / flow diagram kind of thing, which looks very interesting.
Why do you need all this fancy software when you have a spreadsheet?
This looks so much nicer than a spreadsheet.
I mean, you can make a spreadsheet look very nice. I mean, I spend far too much time making my spreadsheets look nice.
Hannah, you should know that the people who are flashy and shiny and know how to dress, they're not always the people you want to listen to.
You're talking about Richard again.
What?
No, clearly not. Richard won't even release a video if it shows his thighs.
When Richard says
Wow.
spreadsheet really quickly, all I hear is spread cheeks.
Spreadsheets.
That's what I'm hearing you say. It sounds like to me as spread cheeks. So then
Spreadsheets.
something different.
Have we-
It's
spread
like, I love it,
cheeks?
spread cheeks, and I'm like,
We say
oh,
spread
Oh.
cheeks.
is it
What
that
board
kind
have I
of?
been invited to?
What time is it over there?
Well, it's quite late.
10 past 11.
But it's a Friday, so it's fine.
Friday, so who cares?
It's fine.
But
It's fine.
I'm sorry, Barrett, I won't be spreading my cheeks for you.
Well,
That's what you're asking.
yet.
If you want Richard to spread his cheeks, subscribe to his newsletter.
Subscribe to his newsletter. Yes, we got to get him to 100.
Are you covering newsletters in your series?
Oh, yes. Are you covering newsletters in your series, Barrett?
No, yes, but not this first 12. First 12 is just they're already done.
And I'm
So,
looking
yes,
forward
I am
to-
talking about it in the next.
I'm looking forward to your deep dive on author website designs.
Oh, that's
I've
gonna
seen
be
some shocking ones.
I think Bex is gonna let me do a review on her channel on live, where we're gonna do if people want us to go talk and do their SEO on their channel using TubeBuddy and show them how to like improve their SEO. I think we're gonna do that. So yeah,
That'd be really good.
if you wanna help with that, I can try to help people raise your SEO scores.
Hannah's recent website design looks really nice. She's doing a really good job with it.
Thanks.
Putting it in my notebook to go look and snoop.
I do need to add all the new book stuff in it, though. I need to do that.
It's effort, isn't it, adding all that?
I don't mind. I quite like doing it. It's in between doing the other stuff.
I remember when I released the prequel, which is now a free giveaway to my newsletter.
Oh, do you have a newsletter?
You have a newsletter?
I have a
are
newsletter.
you?
Can you believe it?
I feel shocked.
I literally had to write a whole list of things to do. When it was like update the website, update this, that. And it becomes you have to kind of just slog through that. I was trying to do it all at the same time because I wanted it all to be live at the same time, thinking, don't want people signing up for it and all the old copies still up. Imagine that. But yeah, no, it went well in the end. I think you've got to put the work in, though. You've got to put the work. It's not just about writing. You've got to kind of think about how you're going to market it, how you're then going to bring it to people's attention. But yeah, it was
that bit scares me the most, the marketing side and stuff.
Well, Barrett's shaking his head. It's not scary.
Well, no, I just say don't let it be. First of all, we all are, because none of us are, I don't know, most of the writers I know are not people who are like, yeah, let me run in a room and talk about how great I am and this thing I wrote's great. And like, that's just not natural.
My worst nightmare.
Yeah, totally. But if the moment you take that out of it and just make it like, hey, I just have to set up my website, it's not easy stuff, but write a great blurb, put it up there, and like Ben's saying, figure out ways to let the traffic drive itself to you, then that's your best bet. And by the time you get to a third and fourth book, you've got a backlist that's really driving the train at that point. And that's something that is exclusive to self that traditional we don't have the benefit of, because it takes 1.5 years to get a book through. So you don't have that.
I think there's like a lot that's been said about right to market, and whenever I read about it, I tend to my eyes tend to glaze over. But I think the basic idea is that you want, if you want to write about cubes that just like disco dancing and you have no interest in selling a book, that's fine. But if you want to sell books, you want to be able to package it and say, this is what it's one of these, and you want to be thinking about that before you start and have a end goal in mind. And if you come at it from that, then you'll have a much easier time.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
And, you want to go into Waterstones and look at the shelves and figure out which one your book would be on and take it from there. But I'm glad you're agreeing with me, because if I was just going out on a limb, then I would be fucked.
I mean, what I've learned from doing this advert for my newsletter, sort of test it out, is I'm not afraid to sort of fail, because then you learn what works and what doesn't work. So I'm going to be planning another ad just to make a difference. Well, Heather's here. Hello.
I think one of the great things to learn in life is to fail.
Yeah.
Once you've done that, you kind of realize that it's not the thing you should be afraid of. And
by the way, all of that is true. Sorry, go ahead.
Wow.
Everything you're saying, I'm like nailing it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm glad you're saying that, because I've sort of spent 8 months of my life on this hunch that I know what I'm doing, and most days I'm not convinced. But,
what about traditional publishing? Has anybody done that, or do we know? Does anybody know anybody that's?
I know quite a few. That's the route I'm going. So most of my friends that are not AuthorTube are TradPub authors.
Right.
So yes, it's hell, and there are haves and have-nots. It's just like self-pub, right? There are a percentage of people that are incredibly successful that are sucking up a lot of the advances in money and energy, and then there's everybody else who is like fighting and scraping and clawing to get our name out there. At least that's my takeaway from what I see in TradPub now. So
it's kind of interesting, because I went to university and all of the lecturers on my creative writing course were published authors, but not one of them actually decided to say how they got published. So I thought that was really helpful.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of difference.
That was sarcasm, by the way.
Do you really think there's a big difference between the two? Like, I think there's a stigma, but I don't think it's deserved. I've seen a lot of crappy TradPub books. So
yeah, let's take, for example, 50 Shades of Grey. I do have a copy of somewhere.
Why?
So for university, I had to read Twilight.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
Poor thing.
I kind of thought in for a penny, in for a pound. So I bought a well-enjoyed copy of 50 Shades of Grey. Where to put it? Oh, here it is. Let's see. That spine has been well enjoyed.
You've got to change that wording.
I know, I was thinking that as well. Yeah. 50 Shades is actually quite important to me, though, because it's Stephen King talks about the one book that you read a bit of and go, this is total crap. Surely what I'm putting out is better than this. And for me, it was 50 Shades. I read it for, I tried to read it for a girl I was dating at the time. And I can remember when I got to it, it's like chapter 3 or 4 where he comes to her place of work and she bites her bottom lip for like the 250th time. And I'm like, right, has she got like a problem? Like, has she got a ailment that is causing her to bite her bottom lip this much? And then I was speaking to a friend and they're like, no, she just keeps doing it throughout. And I'm like, I'm done. I can't.
Adam,
The
when you
prose was
say-
just so bad.
When you say
Yeah.
you were reading it for a girlfriend, do you mean
Mm.
she handed it to you for instructions?
No. We were in the early stages of dating, Martin. Early stages, my friend. But she really liked them, and she thought that. I think, if I remember correctly, I'll tell you how long ago it was. I'd not long moved into this house. That'd be about 6 years ago, and I'd seen the film, and I thought the film was, as a film, quite well put together for that type of film. I was like, no, the sound was really good, the lighting was good, the sound hits the beats.
Richard
she went,
looks
"Oh,
like
try
he's
the book."
having a resurrection. That's a
Steady on,
callback.
Martin. Steady on.
Definitely.
But yeah, I just thought it was terrible. And I mean, I don't mind, dare I say it, bad prose, but this was just, I'm like, that. This is nonsense. In my humble opinion, I'm sure there'll be people on the internet and landing. I'm going to get death threats and stuff in the next
I think
Can I
you're
just
24
say, I
hours,
really don't like
Over
life of a
50
blogger.
Shades? Are there people that intense about 50 Shades? Really? That's
I think there's people that intense about everything, is there not?
Yeah,
You
you're
know?
right. I think you're.
Yeah, I
Definitely
think so.
Twilight.
I'm of course joking, guys. I'm not expecting to get death threats. If I do, though, I'll post it up on my blog, and you can read them and we'll all have a laugh together. It'll be fine,
Please do. I know the Twilight people are really. I don't know. I hated them. Did anybody else?
Oh, it was awful, but
I didn't read
better than
Twilight. I didn't read it. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think the films were that bad, but they did get progressively worse. That old Hollywood thing of the first film comes out, it's okay, it's amazing what they've done with such a small budget. Then it blows up, and they go, let's just make it run of the mill. The same thing happened with the Underworld series. That first Underworld movie was fantastic on such a small budget.
love Underworld.
And then the sequel was just paint by numbers.
I love the third one though. It's so
And then the third one was
bad.
kind of weird, and then everyone after that was just paint by numbers, and you're like, oh, why? You know what I mean?
I had such a girl crush on Beckham.
Sorry, went on a rant.
Understandable.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just.
Yeah.
Barrett, what do you think is the ideal time to launch a newsletter? Before or after the book? And if before, by how long?
Before.
By how
before.
long?
I mean, at this rate, I'm going to be a good 6 years out from the point I ever publish a book. So I would say never is too soon. I don't know. I say so. I'll give you something. A friend of mine's a midlist crab pupper. She thinks about 25 to 30% of her sales are all from her newsletter. So that's her biggest sales driver that she can find.
But what do you do? Go, hey guys, I've still not actually got anything you can read, but I'm doing great.
She
Just find
did.
other valuable things to share.
Yeah, she did short stories and stuff. And then recipes were.
Wait,
part of
I just wrote one of those tonight.
See, there you go. You've already. We're all in it. We've already subscribed.
I would subscribe.
Well, where can they subscribe to yours?
No.
Have you got one? I was scrolling through the FB, as you so succinctly put it,
The
and I
FB.
saw one of Dickie's ads, and I was just like, "Oh, should I click it? Make him pay? Click
You
it."
did click on it.
Oh, that's
Well,
terrible.
I'm glad you were in my audience, Marty, is all I can say. It's nice that you were supportive in that endeavour. I have to say, I really enjoyed having the newsletter. It's kind of really a nice thing to do every month. And
It's
whether
good.
it helps any sales,
It's nice because it's got a picture of Richard that cuts off just above his thighs.
This man's obsessed with your thighs.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried you're obsessed with my thighs or any of my
I think it's a missed merchandising opportunity. I want to see a calendar next year of just
Just guys.
each month a different thigh. Yep, there it is.
It is. So it is.
Missed opportunity, I'm telling you. There's money. There's money in them hills.
But now I've got all these news programs, I have to kind of rejig my newsletter slightly because at the moment I kind of got people I knew to sign up for, but now I've got all these new people. I just want to keep hold of them. Like, you're not leaving now. I've got your details.
Have you done a swap yet? Have you hooked up with another newsletter to swap and cross over?
No, but I want to. I've been looking into that on Story Origin. I think you've got to pay for it. I was talking to Victoria Wren about this actually, and I think
She's got a newsletter. You can swap with her.
Well, I do this thing in my newsletter where I always do like an author highlight at the bottom, and it's good to kind of pay it for. I think Hannah's been in there.
Yep.
I'm not sure who I've picked for this month. It might be someone in the chat. It might be someone here. Who knows? The only way you're going to find out.
If you want to read my quick blurb about Richard's thing, he chose it for last month's newsletter for what I thought of Nightmare Tenant. So if you want to see what I thought of that, out his newsletter.
Yeah, because I put the reviews in my newsletter.
I
get nice reviews from people. They get added to my newsletter. So hopefully it's all about paying it for. But I think with the newsletter, you kind of got to make it personal, or not just about sell. Otherwise, people disengage with that. Because I've seen some really good newsletters and I've seen some really bad newsletters.
Has anyone read Newsletter Ninja?
Yes.
You tell me to buy that.
I've been telling Dickie to pick that up for weeks.
It's so good.
Yeah,
they have a Facebook group where they have like a monthly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they do like a monthly live stream.
Cool. That's cool. I'm
gonna have to read that, but I'm just taking what I just see as a common sense approach to it. Just make a sort of format and kind of stick to it. And it seems to be people seem to enjoy my newsletters. I've actually had emails with people saying, "Oh, I love this newsletter. Thank you. It's nice to read."
I'm going to start doing that. If that's what you're wanting, I'm going to every one now open and reply.
Reply to
that.
Yeah, that does seem to be one of the tricks. If you can get people chatting, then there's no substitute.
Again, it's like you don't want to be on that ivory tower. You want to be able to connect with people who want to read your stuff. It's really nice.
Stephanie, that's a good point.
Ooh.
Wow.
Because I kind of initially really kind of put off a newsletter. I thought, who uses emailing? Or that's so old hat. But I have to say, being able to bypass social media. I think I'd left this as a comment on Barrett's video about social media is like a hotel room. You're just renting it. With a website and a newsletter, you own it.
Adam, are you taking notes? You need to run a newsletter for 6 years and then write a novel and then just throw it in the bin and then write your good novel and then get started.
I can tell you what I regret more than what?
I just said, just agreeing with him.
Oh. The thing I regret more than anything is that OnlyFans hadn't said no more porn before I filmed that video, because I definitely would have used that as the example. But alas, too late.
Alas.
She's here. Hello.
Oh, there she is.
Victoria.
The one and only.
So OnlyFans is going to be for only sort of fans, like
I think it's going to lose a lot of its traffic.
It's going to lose almost, a good 80% of it.
I thought you were going to say it's going to lose my traffic.
Yeah, well, and I think we've got a lot of our, restaurant workers back. I think that'll move things back to employment, because I think a lot of the people I knew here locally had left their jobs to do the OnlyFans, and I'm like, do you, kids? But now they're changing.
Yes, I was about to set up my one.
OnlyFans, you is exactly their business model.
Totally. I was like, I'm going to show pictures of my feet and find the 4 people who like that sort of thing and be like,
wasn't sure where that sentence was going.
It's going to be time.
Scared.
Oh, Tumblr. Yes.
Tumblr. I never went to Tumblr.
I actually used Tumblr for my website, and because it was reasonably easy to make a half decent looking site for very little effort and just redirect it to the domain. And when they changed it so that you had to click, like accept terms as soon as you looked at it, I had to just chuck the whole thing out and build an actual site. I was quite disgruntled.
So Martin, when is your author website coming out?
When I figure out...
You don't know what OnlyFans is, bless her.
It's because you're pure, Nana. It is a site for people who sell naughty photos of themselves
and their bodies.
Yes.
Not always though.
Not always.
Not
no,
always.
no.
Not always. But
Yeah, there's like musicians and stuff on there too.
Yeah.
Cosplayers and things like that. Yeah.
I mean, all the people
I could charge people to listen to me read this.
But the reason I've not got round to starting a newsletter yet is the trilogy I'm working on. I have a co-writer, and we haven't quite decided if we're going to put two names on the book or put it under a pen name or what. And I think a pen name would probably be easier from a marketing standpoint, but then it wouldn't be my name on the book, which I wouldn't like as much.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of wondering whether to go along the Expanse on, they made up a joint name.
Well, my co-writer's surname is Bradley, and my surname's Lejeune. So Bradley Lejeune is, we could we could tweak that down the pike to be Bradley / Lejeune.
That works.
But then I'm like,
you want to do your own separate stuff. That's interesting.
Yeah, we're sort of like coming and going as to whether, like, one idea we have is maybe if this is successful, maybe operating as publishers down the line. My cat is playing with super glue. What could possibly go wrong?
He's in a sticky situation.
Fine.
Yeah, boom.
They're real names, but they both have priorities and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking. Is like inside it would be this is who we are, and like the newsletter would be like hi, it's us. But just in terms of the cover and the ads and stuff, it's a clear message.
Because it is a brand. You are a brand. Because my website used to be called On Holliday, which is like a play on writing. But I got rid of that because I thought I'm the brand, unfortunately. So I kind of
he just came to me. I'm like, you cannot call your blog On Dicky.
But
Why
your
Dicky?
OnlyFans, you
They can.
You could.
the cat is
not my
life.
pictures
The
down.
cat's
And
like,
one's of
I have
you.
other plans for this.
We're watching the cat now.
Yeah, the cat's like, I'm going for that top hat.
He was running wild in a French. Thank you, Heather Grace. He was running wild in a French forest, and he came to live with us. And we brought him to England. He travelled across the sea. It's very weird standing on a ferry at 4 a.m. thinking, my cat's on this boat.
Yeah.
Steady.
Steady.
This has now become a cat stream.
That's what they're all here for, really.
Put him on your OnlyFans, Martin.
No, not biting that.
What about
See, if you do that on
What about-
Amazon, you can't just have it be straight up. You have to be, oh no, he's a werecat who morphs on the moon, and then it's fine.
That sounds like fun. You should write that.
Yeah.
Hannah,
That's
I am not writing porn about my cat shifting into a person and shifting back.
Why not?
Because it's weird. I might as well just write dinosaur stuff. People seem to be getting rich or fat.
No, that's Bethany's kind of gig. Naked dinosaur grannies.
Yeah.
You don't want to be impinging on that territory because she will.
Mm-mm.
That's
she
true.
will,
It's weird.
Weird.
Mhm.
I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would.
Yeah,
I would make so much money if I was any good at writing erotica. I'm just like, and then they did the sex, and it was the good sex, and everyone was happy.
I'm not being funny.
Yeah.
There was some terrible.
Go on, Richard. Read us a bit. Read us a bit, mate.
give us
It'll be
Yeah.
amazing in your accent. Never mind my accent.
read
Oh
from
my
it.
gosh, whose accent would be better?
Oh,
Oh no! I just can't take this BDSM anymore, she said. Yes, you can, he replied.
I cry as I feel a weird pinching sensation deep inside me as he rips through my virginity.
Nice.
And still,
You've already lost me. I'm just
Yeah, I'm done.
Please stop.
his eyes bright with ecstatic triumph. His mouth is open slightly,
Too much.
he's breathing his heart. He groans. You're so tight. You okay? But could she not pay for dinner or something?
Oh. Oh.
Oh, yeah, something
Anyway, bro, stop. Don't read anymore,
gonna
man.
get
It's
worse.
fine. It's fine.
Should we leave
It's fine.
it there?
I'd like to sleep sometime
Oh,
this weekend. You know.
She has a very wise move to go. Just start reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
So do you
If
think
you want
you've
to hear
received
more of that,
do you feel you've received some advice you can action, Adam?
I honestly think I have. The problem that I have, and it's always been the problem that I've had, is the I think was it Richard called it the ivory tower. I would
these
like that.
writers think they're kind of be above talking to their mere fans.
Well, not that, but more the I maybe more the kind of desert island writer for a while. Like I am alone, nobody understands, and I do this. Nobody kind of cares that I do this. I did join a writing kind of writer pal thing in Glasgow, and it came to my turn to submit work, and I've submitted 2 pieces of work. Both were poems, and they didn't like them, and then I kind of felt shunned, to be fair.
Ooh.
What I would say about no one caring what you're writing is on the flip side, no one cares what you're writing. And you can
Yeah. I think I meant nobody cared that I was writing.
yeah.
Or they looked at it as like really odd. Whereas since I've came to this Discord and things with Bethany, who I like to call Penny Lane, because from what's the name of that movie?
Almost Famous.
What's the name of that movie? Oh my god, it's from Almost Famous.
Yeah.
Like it is that scene on the bus where I need to go home, and she's like, "You are home," and then a couple of months later, I'm on a live stream. I'm reading out my work with dyslexia and everything, and having a great time. So I think there is. I think and I've made some really good friends.
Here's a
Richard,
question
I'll not
for
call you Dickie. I'll just call you Richard.
I've made a good few friends, and Richard.
And Richard. And Richard.
That was great.
People are always horrible to me. If you want a good critique group, Adam, you should go onto Barrett's channel. He's been doing this.
Right.
Please, anybody come play with us. Yes, all of our
100%.
hosts were here, Stephanie and Bex. But please do, Adam, come, Martin. Come.
I really am, because it's nice, even when you put up things. Like I ask weird questions, as I'm sure my latest one is I drove all night. Is that creepy or is that romantic when you think
It's
of that?
fucking creepy, man. Why are you driving all night? Don't do that.
I drove all night for Robertson. Well, I mean, he does get into your bedroom and he drove all night. I think he might have a key. I mean, if he's got a key, that's sort of
You might just have a rock.
And it's nice
window smash pretty easily.
Hammer.
I know, but it's I just like having a place to bounce ideas off of people or help people with their ideas and things, and it's been really it's really nice. And there is things I can action, and I do now know that should I, or shall I say, when I finish a novel that I think needs published one way or
When,
another,
not if.
I've got people that I can come. Say that again?
It's when, not if you finish.
I didn't hear that.
novel.
No, sorry, when?
Not if.
And if you do go
no.
on, don't do what Richard did and to go like, oh, my internet connection crapped out if you don't like what you're hearing.
It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, Martin, you're such a character, aren't you?
Here's a question, Adam. How many words can you get down in a day, in like an average day?
In a day?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. It depends, obviously, on the day.
Yeah.
I think the most I've ever managed to get down in a day was six or 7,000. I managed to get done in one day.
I thought you were going to say 6 words. I was like, yeah,
no.
keep at it.
It was 6 or 7,000. But sometimes what happens is I can. This sounds as if we're just talking about me and I'm going on a rant about how great I am, which is so not true. Sometimes I can go into what I call the zone, and I can just like it's almost like the world doesn't exist. But
Flow
that's
state,
not
baby.
just in writing. Like I love
made a video about that. The flow state.
the flow state, and they say like monotony. This job is monotonous. That's not a word. I love routine. So see, when I'm doing a so-called monotonous task, I'll go into the zone there as well and get a lot of it done because I like the routine of it. I think I would be really good at dictation. I wish I'd get into dictation because I'm one of these weird guys that like wakes up at like 2 a.m. and has like a whole novel in his head, and I'm like, see if I just had it recorded and would just speak it. But you know,
do it.
These are things that I've not tried. I mean, I've tried National Novel Writing Month. I've tried that a couple of times and failed each time. But that's because, if I'm being honest, November's not a good month.
Really
I've got my mum's birthday, I've got my birthday, friend of the family's. It's too close to Christmas.
Well, and
stuff like that.
Don't
date in November.
There's a toxic. No. I was just gonna say there's a toxic productivity spiral that happens around Nano. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to that. You have to do NaNoWriMo to.
I don't think I'd want to do it again.
Like
no, I did it. I've done it once. That's it.
Yeah,
3 times, and it's that.
You guys are. I didn't even do it.
I've won it twice. I failed it once, but I've won it twice.
Yeah.
Camp is more chilled out.
Less stress. Yeah.
I've actually got my I won Nano 2020 t-shirt on, but I won't list up my jumper because Richard said that was weird last time.
I like Stephen King's advice that he says the first draft of anything should take no more than a season. So 3 months.
Yeah.
What I find really helpful is just tracking your progress and like write down how many words you get in a day and any other data you care to record. And then when you've got 6 months or a year's worth, you can actually say, look how much I'm doing, look how productive I'm being, look when I'm successful, look when I'm not. Like, do I write faster in the morning or the evenings? Let's do more of that. And
stuff.
And what I'd say is give dictation a go, but don't jump into your work in progress and wonder why it's not working. Dictate some emails, dictate some blog posts, and get used to that. And once you've got used to that, then try working. And don't get overwhelmed by the software. Maybe try one of these services that just take your recording and a human types it up. And see how you get on with that. Like when the software works well, you can either record it and transcribe it, or what I do is I have it on a second screen and I don't look at it. And I've used it enough so I know it's getting mostly the right words down. But I don't, if I'm watching it, I'm worrying about how accurate it is. And if you set it to the highest accuracy, it takes a couple more seconds. So you stare at it for a couple more seconds, you're slower. But if you just have it on another screen, you can get some words sound really fast, and if you do that, you can dedicate less time every day to getting your word count. Which, if like me, you've got other obligations, helps. But on the flip side, there's no substitute for just doing some work every day. And even if you're slow, then those days add up.
Yeah, that's happened recently. Some friends of mine, I was on the phone to a friend and I was cleaning out my laptop and I found, funnily enough, my first try at National Novel Writing Month, which was the year I moved in here, and I found a chapter that I'd just started and I read the start of it to my friend who thought it was funny for reasons, and he's like, well, you do know that'll be like 6 years almost to the day come actually tomorrow. He's like, why don't you finish it? Just finish that one thing, and me and the other friend I've got coming to the house will read it. And I thought, okay, I'll finish it, but it's like the second last chapter of what was meant to be a book, so I'm trying to encapsulate everything, and I've been working on it every day. And now I've got one chapter that's going to be over 10,000 words, but I've enjoyed sitting down and just typing it and looking at how far I've come since like 2015. As a writer, how I see the world differently since 2015, word choice, how you look at people and things. So no, it's been really good. I think it's maybe about. Sorry.
One of my big regrets is.
And it says good night, by the way.
All right, good night, Hans.
Like I was always
right.
like I wasn't dyslexic, but I was terrible at spelling, and I had like that. When I was at school, I wasn't great with words and stuff. And like I got started writing for doing scripts, and whenever I'd show anyone a script, they're like, "Well, story's good, the spelling's terrible." And I was like, I can't write prose because that's got to be all flowery, and everyone always says my spelling's terrible. And I've realised as time's gone on, there's people you can give money to who can sort that bit for you. And if you know story, you can get most of the way there, and then you can sort all those things after the fact. Which I know is heresy to a certain type of person in this community, but it's true. I remember hearing an interview with a filmmaker called Lexi Alexander who saw Quentin Tarantino writing in a cafe, and she looked at his laptop and was just like, "Oh, his spelling's terrible, and if his spelling's terrible, it doesn't matter if mine's terrible," and it's true.
I think you can always fix that later on down the line. So just get the words down. Doesn't really matter what sort of form they're in. You can always
As I said in a former career, I fix it in post.
Do you still write scripts, Martin? Are you solely novel now, or do you still dabble in script writing at all?
I would love to do another short film. I was kind of kicking ideas around before one thing and another started last year.
Yes.
Screenwriters, people.
But one thing my writing partner and I have been chatting about, I think I mentioned sort of earlier, is like doing a serial story where the first draft would be a screenplay, and then so I'd write a screenplay and then he'd adapt it to prose, and each act would be a chapter.
Cool. That's cool. I like that.
But yeah, when I get stupidly rich from the novels, I'm going to take it and make a feature that will make, probably no money, but I'll validate myself.
What would you think?
Terrified to adapt my own work to a script. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Richard has written a film that's been produced and is available online, I should just say.
I'm sorry, twat?
I say film. It's a Doctor Who fan film. It's not very good, but it paid my rent for a couple of months.
Did Barrett just call me a twat?
No, I was trying to say what, but it came out wrong. Wait, I didn't know that. You wrote a script?
I have written and produced a 25-minute film based on the classic British television series Doctor Who, because me and some friends, we love it. And we thought we'd give it our own crack at the whip. And we had
How
lots
did
of fun
you
making
sit
it.
in my chair for 2 hours and that never came up?
So there's a filmmaker called Chris Jones who did like low budget films here in the UK like over 30 years ago, and he wrote a book called The Guerrilla Filmmaker's Handbook that became one of those, like, if you're making low budget films, his book is one of the go-tos. And he tweeted one day that someone was looking for an effects artist, and I'm like, wait, that's what I do. So I tweeted the guy back and was like, that's what I do. And I don't know how much you go on Kent's Discord, but that guy is called Gary and he posts on there.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to London. I'm about, 100, 200 miles from London, like 2 hours from London. So I go to London in 2011, and Gary's got funding for a film to do with the 2012 Olympics, and we're filming outside the Houses of Parliament, Buckingham Palace, with all the permits. We're above board, which, coming from a no budget film, you're never above board. You never have permission to put tripods on the ground. And I'm filming outside Buckingham Palace. It's like, fucking what? And Gary is great. He goes, not for this, but you really should be charging more. Which is just like, Gary, man, I love you. That's such a nice, supportive thing to say. But also, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I do this film with him, and then a couple of years later, they do another film, and then they're doing this Doctor Who film, but Richard's written. And Richard's like, I'd sort of seen him post, like, reply to their posts, and I'm like, who is this guy? He seems a bit extreme. But we end up doing this Doctor Who film together, and I didn't go to any of the Doctor Who shoots, did I?
You never made it to one of the shoots.
No, because
You lived in France.
Yeah, when I was living in France, they were just like, right, here's all the footage. You've got 2 weeks.
Oh, off we go. And then you were like, here's my invoice.
And then you turn around and you're like, oh yeah, the main actor works at one of the big effects houses in London. And he's like, well, I suppose it's good for the time you had.
No, he did. He said he was really impressed with the effects, given you did it on your own with the low budget, and yeah.
And yet the job offers never came.
Well, the pan pizza.
Was that about pizza?
I'm
Pizza. Definitely a plus.
No pineapple pizza, Richie.
No, I'm all about the pineapple on the pizza.
I was telling Richard the most extreme thing I've ever had on a pizza was reindeer.
That's pretty extreme. Where were you? Were you? What, were you like cruise to Antarctica? What was the trip?
Tampere in Finland.
Oh, okay. And yet that makes sense, actually.
I was shooting a film.
As you do in
which if you're British, Father Christmas, he lives in Lapland, which makes you very worried for his reindeer.
And if you're from America, he lives at Holiday World in Nowhere, Indiana.
And Nowhere, Indiana.
With $24.99, you can visit too.
I'm sure that's a tourist trap.
It's
so. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Of who? Yeah, sure.
Okay. When this has got right. Like, have you, gentlemen, ever thought about writing a main character who's of a different ethnicity?
Yeah.
And and without sounding, dare I say it, a bit right wing, do you write it any differently?
The way I see it,
that's probably a really badly wording, but the easiest way to do it would be, as I'm sure Richard and Martin know, I'm a big fan of Hamilton. And when I finally saw Hamilton on Disney Plus, my mind was blown and I just thought, I don't know if I'll ever mention my character's skin color or anything like that ever again, because it doesn't matter. Like, I get annoyed. I've been to America and I've still got some American money, and I got one out and it was like George Washington. I was like, doesn't look like the guy from Hamilton, because that's now how I see them. When I now think of Alexander Hamilton, he looks like Lin-Manuel Miranda. That obviously makes no sense, but it's just who they are to me now. And I was just thinking, like, you know, I've had a story idea for a long time where it's originally the two protagonists are men of colour, and I just thought, as a, you know, whiter than white Scotsman, can I really do them justice?
The
Or
way
is the
I
idea
looked
that
at
I'm even
it
having that
is,
thought a bit
you want
dangerous?
your characters
Does that make sense?
to reflect the world you live in, and unless you live in a remote Devon village that does have all these people in, and you don't want to like write them as a special other. You just write them as people, and you want to.
You don't treat them separately or with, you know, you just treat them as characters.
As characters. What though if you think that did I say the colour of their skin? What happens if you think it may play into the plot slightly?
Well,
do you still
what
just,
I've read a
doesn't...
lot lately is what you should do is describe it as being like a food.
Right, okay.
Don't do that.
Okay.
That was sarcasm.
Yeah.
What I would say is ask someone to read it. Write it and then ask someone to read it.
You can get, if you want to spend money, there are...
Heather put a good thing in the...
What's the term?
Dialect. I worry about that all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm completely blanking on the term for readers who are...
sensitivity readers.
Sensitivity readers, thank you.
Sensitivity readers, yeah.
But
fun enough.
I mean, I don't want to, like...
Sorry, this might have actually been a wee bit. I don't know. I don't want to use the word political, but I feel as if now that I've mentioned this, I'm like that. This might not have been the time or place to maybe ask such a question. So sorry about that.
The thing is, you don't want to write it as you don't necessarily want to think of them as being different to your other characters. Like, but what the rule of thumb is kind of like, you don't want to write about an experience that you've not lived and tell their story, but you want to you don't want to not include them because that's not true to the world either.
Yeah, I'll give you an example, Adam. So if you were going to write a gay character, I'd be cool with writing that character. The only issue where I may take issue with it is if you were trying to write about a trauma, right? So if you're trying to write about something that's a trauma for gay people, so coming out to a parent that disowns you, or a trans person losing a home because they're trans, or not getting a job, right? Like something like that might be a trauma. If that's the focus of your story, that's where I think you might get into trouble, because someone's going to say, well, now wait a minute, what do you know about that, right? Whereas instead, if it's just a story about the dollhouse spaceship and where it's going, what's happening, and the character happens to be trans or happens to be gay, then that's a horse of a different feather, because then it's just they are who they are, and that's just a part of the story. Instead of it's focused on that like trauma. The example I can think of in Trad Pup was American Dirt, was a story that came out. That was a big book, $1 million advance, written by a white lady about a Mexican immigration story. That was an example of like, probably wasn't the person to tell that story, right? So like, that would be my example for you of like, if it's the what's about, you know what I mean?
I think you want to kind of
I can understand that. Yeah,
I think you kind of want to try to avoid making these characters also. You don't want to make them caricatures.
Yeah,
that's an important thing to avoid. I mean, for me, my characters are my characters. I don't specify, you know, they might be white, black, or all in between. Doesn't really matter. I
Right.
kind of always go for what's important to the story. And yeah, I definitely agree. It's like a thing I don't have any experience with like that. I wouldn't write like what Barrett was saying about like a trauma that I don't understand. But saying that, I wouldn't say be penned in by that whole only write what you can experience thing, because otherwise you'd only be writing about white guys who live in Glasgow.
Agree.
Yeah. Which is funny because I never really write about my homeland at all. And it was something that my teachers would always tell me. Like, everybody would be setting stories in or around Britain during school and during college, and almost all of mine were set in like the US or Spain or places like that. I was like, why,
My novel, The Thought, is actually set in the US. And when I was planning, I was thinking, do I write this post-apocalyptic adventure in Britain or America? And I kind of suppose I defaulted to the States. I kind of wish I'd gone for Britain now, but there's always going to be another one. I think Heather makes a good point here. How do you all feel about male or female characters?
I've definitely taken.
I suppose I kind of default to male characters, but I do try to write more sort of female or women protagonists. I want them to be, not sort of a side piece. Like in my novel, The Thaw, we have a very. I had it described to me by some of my beta readers as very feminist, because I've got a very strong female character, not the protagonist, but a protagonist, and I was the most surprised when I got that back, but it was good. So I'm trying to kind of not just kind of default to that kind of like unconscious maybe thing where the main characters are a guy, and then the damsel in distress kind of thing. Just kind of. I was really pleased with my work on this book, which no one's read yet. But actually, Martin, you've read it. You read draft 3 of it.
It's a good book.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I have so much fun,
kind of,
like, being rude to you. I have so much fun being rude to you. But it's a good book, and it reads like a book. Like, not like you've had a go. In 2008, I got some funding to make a short film. And what I found is that if you're making a film, there are so many more women who want to act than men. And so if you can write a character who's a woman, you'll have an easier time casting it. And so that's what I did. And someone I worked with ended up auditioning the same actress that I'd worked with on another film. And she said it was so nice to read a script where it wasn't just a girlfriend. And I thought, what a nice compliment. And I've sort of taken that into my prose in, you want to write people as people, and, gender isn't the be all and end all.
It really isn't. I mean, do you remember Extra Time? So Martin was talking about Gary, who's a filmmaker who's in the Discord.
Hi, Gary.
Hi,
Gary's mum.
He directed a film called Extra Time, which is like a time travel adventure film, and the big baddie was supposed to be this gangster who was written as a man initially. It wasn't written by me, by the way, this film. But then I think Charlie, one of the actors, who's quite well known to me, and Martin, we know Charlie, he said, why can't this character be a woman? And they said, yes, a good idea. And then they got Louise Jameson, who's quite a famous actress in the UK. She was in the original Doctor Who in the 1970s, and it worked really well. So, again, I think when you write characters, unless you need them to be a certain colour for plot reasons or a certain orientation, write characters as characters. My thoughts on it. I mean, we all just have terrible things happen.
I find a really good rule of thumb for writing is that if something needs to be changed up, do the opposite. And, like if a character's a man, make it a woman and see how that works. And sometimes, like if you've got a male protagonist. Like the famous example is Ripley from Alien. They never wrote gender; they just wrote surnames. And sometimes you can, do that, and it can work really well. And sometimes it can be the other thing. But that's worth trying. But also, it's not something you want to worry about too much. Like if everyone's white and British, then maybe change things up a bit, but don't let it keep you up at night.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I say draft the story, and then let your community that you share it with guide you and say, hey, do this, think about that, whatever. You know what I mean? But get it out, write it, right?
Yeah, write it if you've got it in you. Then you can always edit it and change it later. Don't let it put you off from sort of writing it down.
That's my favourite. That's my favourite part. Ever since I was a kid, I used to love writing essays and things for school. And then see, once the teacher gave you it back with all the red marks, and then you've to improve it. That is my favourite part. Not the first draft, but any draft after that. Well, I just love it. I just love it. I don't know why.
I remember being 8 years old and writing something in primary school and announcing that even though I was a boy, I'd written something about a girl. And like everyone just being like, "What?" I think it was a rabbit.
All right.
Very good point.
Back when I was 8, we used
that's a very good point.
Back when everything was in black and white and everything was candle lit, wasn't it?
That's right. It was before electricity, no indoor plumbing.
Yeah. What did you write?
Did you not?
Tough. No, I said back when I was 8.
You're surely not that old. Don't say how old you are, but you don't look.
I own the old. I am 30.
You don't look that old.
I'm 39 in 3 weeks. I can't wait. I'm ready for it.
Wow.
Bring it on.
Wow.
Every 3 years, I spend a year assuming I'm a year older than I actually am, and I'm realizing for the second time that my birthday next week, I'm going to be aged. I've spent the last year assuming I already was.
Wait, are you a Virgo, Martin?
Oh yeah.
Oh well, this is why we're fast friends.
That's so nice of you to say.
For sure, 2 Virgos.
When's your birthday?
September 16th.
Awesome.
Shall I be writing this down?
31st of August.
You're the what?
31st of August.
31st of August. Okay.
Oh, you're 31st of August, shortly.
Right in the middle of the Virgo.
Yeah, I'll put my Amazon link up. Don't you worry. My wish list.
Send gifts.
Got Zimmer frame on it. I'm about that. That's that.
What do you guys ever think I feel as if I'm just talking now?
Do it, man. You got some writers. Pick the brain source. You've got them.
True. I'm trying to pick the brain.
That guy's got like 200 YouTube subscribers. He must know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
He must know something.
I
like me and my friend, we call them like archetypal stories. So you have the archetypal story like Prodigal Son Returns, or one of my favourite is the MacGuffin is a man. If you think of that, so like all the way through something, you think you're looking for like a treasure, and the treasure ends up being a person. Like spoilers if you've not read Da Vinci Code, but I thought Da Vinci Code did that really well. You think they're looking for one thing, and they actually find it's another. You guys ever think about that when it comes to your stories, or in general?
I mean, at the risk of sounding like a politician, I'm just going to answer your question with something completely unrelated. Have you seen Babylon 5?
I don't get it.
Have you seen Babylon 5?
I have not seen Babylon.
I've been rewatching Babylon 5. It's fucking amazing 90s sci-fi. And halfway through season 3, spoiler alert, the space station Babylon 5 breaks away from the Earth Alliance. And the Earth ships have turned up and have this big fight, and they basically lose. And then these allied alien ships turn up and fend them off.
Right.
And you need that moment of absolute failure before having victory, because that victory is nothing unless it comes after absolute loss.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. You need that. I call that digging a hole. Yeah, digging a hole. Like, you need to find a hole. Funnily enough, what I'm writing for my friend right now is it's like a pro wrestling match.
Mm.
And my mate's like, "What part are you at?" And I'm still digging the hole. And he's like, "You're still digging the hole?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, if this guy's not in a hole that you don't think he'll ever come out of, when he does come out of it, especially in wrestling terms, it's not going to be worth it.
You need to lose at your midpoint. You need everything to be darkest just before the dawn.
The dawn,
and that's when your characters can start to bounce back. And this sort of comes from you need to know structure, and like I find if you have 4 points at each quarter of your story where something moves, you can, it can be a story about cleaning ladies arguing, or it can be stories about gods fracturing reality. It doesn't make a difference.
No. Just on a side
God, I sound like Ken Shawn.
You are. On a side note, if you Google search me, the first result you'll get is for someone who is a pro wrestler who uses the stage name Richard Holliday.
Oh, nice. I will do that.
I was talking to Chris Kenny today about his abs.
Yikes.
I said, okay. Abs, actually.
Have you seen his like books about being muscular?
No, didn't even know he did.
Oh yeah, he did. And I was like, "Hey, is that Photoshop?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Why are you writing sci-fi? You can beat up nerds."
Right? Totally.
I don't know. With structure, I'm very 3-point, because that's how I was. I can't remember, but I learned it in Latin. So I used to know the Latin terms for like start, middle, and end. But it basically went like,
you know Latin. I thought you were working class. Wow.
No. It was only for this. But basically, I like my stories to be like, normality, disruption to normality, return to normality, or resolution.
I mean, I like normality.
When you speak to people,
I
they put in all these other beats, and I'm just like, look, can you just give it to me in 3 points? No matter how it is, just give me the 3 points. Like they go, oh, and this happens, and then you need to do this, and there's an incited incident, and I'm like, what's just the 3 points? I'm kind of old school. I'm like, what's the 3 points? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But the 3 points are 4 points.
Arguably.
You need that midpoint. You want to argue?
Well, do you though? Right?
4 points.
I don't want to argue. I mean, I think there is room for 4 points, obviously. But I always think of films like
what's the 4 point?
For example,
my newsletter.
The 4 points, right? But how does that apply to like, I don't know, like where's that point that you've discussed, Martin, and like Where Eagles Dare, for example?
It's the bit when Michael Caine rescues.
Michael Caine's not in Where Eagles Dare.
Sorry, I was thinking of the eagle has landed.
Landed. I know.
I don't
know. I mean, it's,
which one's Where Eagles
one of those
Dare?
things. That's Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton.
It's a bit where
they need to go into the.
It's a bit where Clint Eastwood tells Richard Burton that even though they're macho men, they need to let their feelings out, or they're going to have bigger problems in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. At which point, Richard Burton just drank himself to death. Yeah, pretty much.
But not before fending off the Martians with a common cold. Am I right, Dickie?
I think you're right there, Martin. You squeezed on the Martian.
Yes.
Barrett,
but no, I don't know. I think
Barrett. Do you know Mark Dawson?
No.
He's one of those He's one of those people who's so successful at self-publishing that he's traditionally published.
Oh, okay.
He does the self-publishing formula. And
Andy Weir, then.
Do you know what a Chazza shop is?
No.
Chazza shop.
You know, like it's a thrift store.
Yeah.
So I'm in a thrift store, and you're not going to understand the next bit, but stay with me. I send Dickie here a picture. I'm like, look, I found Mark Dawson's book in a jazzer shop. And all he says is, fucking hell. Next to it is David Essex's book.
I have 3 of this guy's books. Now that I'm looking, I've read 2 of these. The Cleaner, and I'm pretty sure I've read Tarantula. But
I think it was a Cleaner I ran into.
yeah, I've read The Cleaner.
So basically, Adam, if you want to make money, write romance or thriller. Basically,
romance.
if you drop,
Combine the two.
I don't know what your money situation is, but if you have 30 quid, to
Not
spend
good, mate. Not good.
He speaks Latin.
If you want to spend 30 quid, get a K-Lytics report, and they'll tell you which Kindle categories are doing well. And basically, the number 1 category is romance, and then the next 12 categories are all other subgenres / romance. So
I'm a big
right
romantic, to be fair.
You know what
I'm
they
a
say? Sex does sell. Well, it's not on OnlyFans.
Not where I was going with that, Richard, but okay.
One more month.
Yeah.
Better fill your boots then.
Yeah. So are you thinking of writing to market, Adam? Is that what you're considering?
Honestly, no. This is probably without blowing smoke. This is probably the stream that has made me realise that, do you know what, I can't actually do this writing thing, because I've put in a lot of flash fiction and nobody has messaged me afterwards in private and went, Adam, that was the worst thing I've ever read in my life.
Oh, did you want us to do that?
Yes, if you don't mind, Martin, if you don't mind.
You know what?
I think I need to start taking it seriously. But I think I just want to write what I want to write. And because of the type of person I am, it'll usually be things that don't really get out of style. Like, when did Star Wars ever get out of style? Never really did. Never really.
Early 2000s?
Really did.
Yeah.
Never really did, Martin. Never really did.
Like, I had to cover clones, though. Like, I've got a really, I've got a really dry wit, and I think I hurt. And I think I hurt Novel Nana's feelings in the chat, because I'm just like, she mentioned grandkids. I'm like, ooh, are you Novel Nana? And everyone's like, you heartless bastard. I'm like, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
But you and your British wit.
But what I would say is that
I would rather just be good at really one market, be right good at one thing. Like
on one of Kent Sean's Flash streams, you wrote about was it someone in a supermarket or something like that, and I just remember thinking like, oh man, that's got so much atmosphere, and my shit's just dialogue heavy and I hate it. But at the same time, you were just like, oh, I'm really new at this, and I've just tried it, and is it any good? And I'm just like, yes, you successful bastard.
I still can't believe that you entered that short story contest for Kent Sean, and I edited your story, Martin, and then you placed higher than I did.
Yeah, and the best thing about that is I stuck it on Amazon for 99p, and I made about a tenner, and people actually buying it.
What? Wow, that's the way to do it, man.
Slow Snail! Oh, yes, SEX to Ox, Apollo 12, baby, I get this reference. Pete Conrad is the man.
Let's see, Martin.
Try writing something with no dialogue. That's what I did.
It was hard.
That's what I did in my last piece. No dialogue, no women, no booze. I mean, they're my staples.
What was?
People come and read my shit.
Were you even alive, Adam? Like,
what? What do you mean? I know. Was I even alive? I know. It was brutal. But no, I would just like to be like a big genre writer. Someone, I don't mean as big as, but someone like a Lee Child or a Alistair MacLean or
that's
a
what
Desmond.
Dickie's here going for, so you're going to have a bit of competition.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when I was at the university, we had all these lecturers, and you could just kind of tell when you mentioned genre fiction, they would be looking right down their nose. Oh no, you don't want to write this rubbish. You would be writing, as Ben would say, a proper literature. You don't want to be writing any of that terrible rubbish.
Mm.
And I just think, you know what? It sells. And you know what? It's fun.
Do
It's
you
like,
know?
I can pull down a Lee Child book. I can read it. I treat it like a literary packet of crisps. I read it. I enjoy it. Put it on the shelf. Get the next one out. I know what I'm getting.
Do you know Chris Fox?
That's it, and I like that. Yeah, Chris Fox. Yeah, I've read some of his books.
Like, they're not.
I was bitterly disappointed by his YouTube though. I just didn't like his voice. I jumped on his YouTube and he's like, "Hi, I'm Chris Fox," and I'm like, "No, you're not. It's not the voice I had in my head when I read your book, bro." You know what I mean?
I don't know why he insisted.
You were way better looking in my head, my man. Unsubscribe. You know.
He made a really good point, which has really stuck with me, which is your books don't need to be 100%. They need to be 80%. Get it there, and you're laughing.
What is it they say? Don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Mm-hmm.
There are no good writers, only good rewriters. Stephen
But
King.
in your case, Dickie, I wouldn't say that's much of a risk.
Oh, dearie me. I don't know what to say to this guy. I don't know.
You guys need to do like a proper roast. Like just have it, call it the roast, have everyone on.
Wow.
Can you imagine if
I think that would be fun, actually. Do you know what? That's got to sound weird. I think that'd be really good for like charity. Like if AuthorTube were doing some sort of charity thing, I think that would be hilarious.
I think so too. It's a writer thing, so you got to write stuff.
You know what I mean?
Who's brave enough to do it first? I'll go first. Come rip me to shreds.
Barrett.
Please.
Barrett is so old.
Old, know-it-all. Listen, I read my own stuff on Guru Gossiper. I know what people say about me. I love it. Keep it coming. If you're talking about you, you're doing something right.
What I find really awkward now is about a year ago, Richard sent me some of Ben's videos. But he wasn't like, oh, here's a guy from our community. He was just like, here's a YouTuber I don't know more people aren't watching. And it was his video about why he self-publishes. And Ben, please don't take this to heart. But it was like the one where you're saying, well, I know how to edit, so I don't need an editor, and I know how to paint covers, so I don't need a cover design, so I've got no use for a traditional publisher, and I just self-publish. And I'm just like, who is this guy, and why is he so full of himself? And since we've been chatting on the streams, he's been really self-deprecating, and I'm just like, oh, he's not like how he comes across at all. And I spent a year going, who was that guy you were recommending the videos of, Richard?
Yeah, and you thought I had some sort of, I was going mad, but yeah, he's very funny.
He is.
He's funny. I think with Ben, you kind of expect something from his videos, and then you realise he subverts those expectations quite stupendously. And then you see those sketches he's made now.
The sketches. The
proper literature.
Yes.
I'll need to check this guy out. I don't
know why. I think the YouTube algorithm really fucks him over for some reason. He does some really good content, and also he does some really long videos. But I like literally like 30 and a 35-minute video. That'll do. Get feet up on the couch.
Yeah,
the sketches are perfect. At least 11. At least
definitely
11. Yeah. What about like YouTube, like AuthorTubers? Do you guys subscribe to any or like part of the Patreon of any? Like the first one that I found was Jenna Moresi, if anybody knows. And then I was in work one day and I found Kate Kavanagh writes like Stephen King, so I watched that. And then I watched another, and then I watched another, and then I thought, I actually really like her style, so I subscribed. And now I'm part of a Patreon, I'm on the Discord, and things like that.
He's another good one
as well.
I do Patreon with some small. I'm all small YouTubers on where I do Patreon.
Has anyone checked out Dan Hook's videos? I think
Hi Heather, good to see you. Thank you for coming.
He's very good. Well, thank you, Heather.
Hi, thanks, Heather.
Cheers.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you
You're
for your
awesome.
questions.
Because he started posting again. He's posted some really cool little videos. Only got 130 subscribers. He needs more. Who else am I subscribed to?
Barrett, on your playlist I watched earlier about building an author platform, when you did your intro, you talked about, if you follow my tips, you sell more books. And it'd be really great if in the course of like your future videos, you like, it's really good advice, but I don't know, but it's like, I don't know, like, I didn't see the connection to how it sells more books.
To marketing?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's coming from business school. So when I got my MBA, part of what we were doing was to learn products. And then we went out, like for my consulting, what I did was for candidates or campaigns and then ultimately companies, we went out and built a platform to draw people to find that content, right? So someone types into Google, I want a fidget spinner, right? My job was to make that fidget spinner the top one in search. So the idea being is if, let's say, you write comedies that are romantic comedies for middle grade readers that are about vampires. So you're going to pick your long tail keywords. I write middle grade, I write this. If it's very detailed, you put it in your YouTube, you put it on your website, you put it on your social media platform. What you're going to draw over a 3 to 6 month period is a net on Google where every time someone types in that search term, it's going to drive traffic to them. So I'll give you an example. For my website or for my search terms that draw me traffic to YouTube, there are topics that I don't think you'd guess. So when I get to the one where I'm doing the analytics, it's going to surprise folks, the words that draw people to me. And if they're at my space, the goal that I'm trying to give people is you're going to sell more books if you've got more people looking at your books. So if someone is saying, I like sci-fi for middle grade that has vampires in it, they type that in Google and yours is the first one they see, and you're a whole lot more likely to make that sale than if they never find you at all. So what I probably should do is word that better so that connection makes sense, but that's what I was trying to connect that to, right? Is that
what I felt was like what you have in your intro isn't like, I don't feel there's payoff to that. Oh man, I sound like a dick.
Chekhov's gun? Is that what you mean?
Chekhov's gun! Oh, I love this guy.
Yes.
Chekhov's gun. Oh man, that guy. I don't know if what you're talking about, but see, when a film or a book or a TV show doesn't do Chekhov's gun properly,
Chekhov's gun was one of those bits of writing advice that I was just like, oh my god, that's the kind of writing advice I want.
Yeah. Sorry to just totally jump in there, but it is. It's Chekhov's gun you're talking about, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, crazy. One of the reasons I hate The Last Jedi.
House!
Yes.
Oh, no way.
I think I kind of get Martin's point. I think it'd be good to see how the links between what you're doing in marketing and the actual kind of sort of book results pan out. Because I think when I put
what I mean is like what you said on
keywords. I was like, what on earth?
Sorry, Dickie.
That's right. Thank you.
What I mean is like what you've said in this chat. I'd love to hear in a future video on that playlist. Yeah. And I think it's like I get all the stuff you're saying about building a platform, but I'd love to see how to bring it home, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What Martin said.
Yeah. That's the hard part. That's individual to every single person.
Come to Gary.
Oh man, I want to catch all that just solves it all. I want to quit my day job and write novels. Sort that out for me, Barrett.
Wait, what's this?
And then we can go up in that elevator to the top of the arch and be like, hello, the West. Honestly, officer, it's just a pack of cards.
You need to get that into a story somewhere, Martin. You need to kind of, you got to write what you know. That is being.
Just write that story. Just make it more dramatic.
Well, you think You could embellish it.
Embellish it. I did that for a story where I ended up in my local mosque by accident. Yeah, I'm a terrible driver, so I used to have this really beat up car. Now this car looked as if you'd stole it and stuff. And I was meeting a friend for coffee in Glasgow, and I drove into the local mosque that was doing, I think it was like £2 all day parking. So I went in there, it was a rainy day, and then these two boys come up and thought that because my car was a wreck, that I was basically just abandoning it. And I'm like, no, I've got this. And they were like, one of them was really cheeky and then accused me of being racist and all this mad other stuff. So I paid my money, went and had coffee and come back. And as I was driving out, a guy ran out the mosque and waved me down like a helicopter. And I'm like, what is it? And he's like, can you please park in this spot? And it was like a spot right outside the mosque for like really important people. So I had to park there. And then they invited me in the mosque, and it was like the guy who was the head of the mosque wanted to talk to me because he'd realised through CCTV that the guys that were taking the money, that one of them had like abused me. And I like sat in this mosque talking to a guy for like 2 hours, and it was great. And he wanted me to be really candid, and I was really candid. I'm like, look, you say these people don't represent the mosque. I'm like, this guy's accused me of being racist. I know that I pronounced his name right, because he's got his name the exact same as like a guy in a show that I watched. I think it was like 24 at the time or something. And I was like, look, I'm like, and I embellished that story and made that into a thing. Yeah, it was actually quite fun. It was actually quite interesting. The mosque was beautiful, by the way. If you get the chance to honestly go into a mosque, it was really chill, and like everything was just beautiful. Everything from the decor, shall we say, was superb. It was honestly amazing.
I was actually in Glasgow about 10 years back with a mate who'd lived in Dundee since he was 5, but he was originally born in London. And I'm like, we should find a pub. And he was like, yeah, I don't really feel comfortable going a pub in Glasgow. And I definitely don't feel comfortable with you going a pub in Glasgow. So let's go down Forbidden Planet.
Mate, there's nothing wrong with you or him getting into a pub in Glasgow. You'd probably been all right. You'd probably have found it very welcoming, to be fair.
He thought that he thought they'd fuck us up because we're English.
No. That's a very bad common misconception. We are extremely welcoming of all people of, English, whatever nationality. Especially 10 years ago, you might have bumped into me in the pub. That'd have been something.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Not knowing, you know what I mean?
Slow Snail, you are my favourite commenter this evening. You're just posting all my favourite comments about Hitchcock
I'm under the table.
Chekhov.
Agreed.
The thing about Chekhov's gun, it's not about if there's a gun in Act 1, you fire it in Act 3. It's about if there's a gun firing in Act 3, you have it in the mantle in Act 1. It's about reverse engineering. It's about taking what you have at the end and you set it up. It's like, Dickie, what I said about your 4 novel, you need to establish the President's Train to begin with.
This is what I'm doing. I'm doing it.
Yeah, man.
But it's actually, you've got to put that sort of foreshadowing in. And because the payoff is so
foreshadowing, yeah, I'm into that.
Surprise is the answer to the question.
It's like writer's porn to me. Chekhov's gun, foreshadowing. I'm loving it. My favourite is
me and Martin probably just spent hours on TV tropes, just reading that. That is a I'll tell you what.
Adam, what's your favourite
resource?
My favourite trope.
You were saying your favourite.
Yeah, it was my favourite trope. I think my favourite trope might be like Black Knight, White Knight. So you have two characters that if they'd have made different decisions in their life, they're like mirror opposites of each other. They're the same. They're the head and tails of the same coin. So, like, if you want to put it really simply, the simplest way. Did Adam write the 10K? Yes, I did. Yes, Gary, I did. Thank you. Yes, I did get the 10K chapter.
I mean, that's far too long for a chapter. You're a fucking madman, you Glaswegian. You're like the hamster and the young ones. What the hell?
But mate, it's not though, because it's all dialogue and action. I've read it out aloud, right? Which I don't do. I managed to read it in like 12 minutes.
Oh no! I've
Aye, 12 minutes. Anyway,
I need to.
My
I do a
favourite trope is, like I
podcast
said,
with
the
a
Black
guy
Knight,
in
White Knight.
Lanark.
Lanark's nice. That's
It's-
not far from
it's
me.
all
And that would
about-
the easiest one to do that would be like Luke and Invader or Black Knight, White Knight. They both they could easily be one another.
I gotta say,
The
Gary,
Hound in the Mountain.
when we
are other
stood
good ones.
outside Buckingham Palace, and you were like, "Not for this, but you really should be charging more." That meant a lot. Thank you.
You should put that on a T-shirt, Martin.
That
Oh,
is
man.
pretty good.
Fits it in
Barrett.
both.
I'm really trying to think of clever author T-shirts, and then I've got like a printing press. A couple of years ago, I made stupid money doing Star Wars T-shirts.
See,
And if I could think of like some clever author T-shirts, I'd be fucking laughing. But all I could
What
think of
happened?
was
Did
like
Disney sue you?
I can
check
start
of gun
looking.
bollocks.
I'll start thinking of ideas
Martin.
and start messaging
I'll
them to
get
you.
I've got one that if you do, I will buy 2 T-shirts from you if you do this.
No, man, I
Alright,
can't
'cause
do
it's
that.
me.
You've already said you don't have much spare cash.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You know, it's one that I've always wanted to see, which says 100% British beef on a T-shirt.
And then I'd probably
100%
still want
British
to
beef.
because he loves British exceptionalism.
How could you say that, Martin?
Oh, Stephanie's is a good one. Do that one. That's popular.
Yep, I make big books. I do not lie.
Don't write these down.
Friends, I have to go because I ordered food at 3 thinking we'd be done by 5. And I just got the call from the delivery person saying they're like 4 minutes from my house. So
Shall we wrap it up then?
I think that's a really polite way of saying you guys are taking the piss.
no, I'm sorry. I was just like, I am going to have to eat. Like, y'all.
I
Fine.
can
It's
talk to
fine.
you
It's been
guys
awesome.
Forever.
And next
Same,
time, no
same.
romance. No romance. But yes,
Oh,
I'll start
okay.
coming up with names for you, Martin, and email them to you as I get them.
Absolutely.
So, shall we call it a night then, chaps?
This
Well,
was
for
lovely.
the live stream, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What a pleasure.
It
That's a good
was.
one.
It
That's a
honestly
good one.
was. Thank you very much. All.
Okay, we'll say goodbye to everyone. Thanks for watching. And
Slow
Bye.
down. You set SCE to ox.
Yeah. We will see you.
You Google it. You figure it out.
Okay, I'm
bloody,
going to click the button now.
Big Conrad, yo.
Resurrection.
Peace. Bye.
Resurrection.
Resurrection.